sound checking. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's now time for the featured bout of the evening. From the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now!
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special. And there's no hype. So let's go. No respect to this guy. Let's go.
You better believe it now. That was something special.
20 rounds, 20 victories.
It was Lamb versus Lion.
And still the undisputed champion of the world.
Fight night is finally here. We're live from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. As so, Canelo Álvarez steps back into the ring to battle Dmitry Bivol with the WBA World Light Heavyweight title up for grabs. A Cinco de Mayo weekend blockbuster, only available on Dazn pay-per-view.
Canelo, it's just too much of a risk. Dmitry Bivol's a beast.
It's a fight that would mean something for Canelo.
Bivol is probably the most dangerous opponent out there for Canelo.
I think Canelo has the size, power.
He's technically proficient. He's powerful. He's a better fighter than the Turtle. That's why
Bivol's a beast.
The main event comes up at 8 p.m. local time, so there's still plenty of time to place your order. Simply scan the QR code and follow the instructions. Ahead of the main card, 4 fights for you now, starting with Fernando Molina against Ricardo Valdavinos. Then Eleanor Abdulraimov takes on Sweet Dreams Manuel Correa. Alexis Espino faces Aaron Silva. And the prelims conclude with Joselito Velazquez against Jose Soto.
Todos tenemos nuestra historia, ¿no? Nunca sabes exactamente lo que va a pasar. Empecé a trabajar primero vendiendo paletas en los camiones con mi papá. Y en Juanacatlán, pues empecé a trabajar en los ranchos, dándole a los cerdos y a las vacas, ordeñando.
Es orgullo de su equipo, de México y su
Él quiere ser un ejemplo para todos los mexicanos.
En algún momento, como que ya no quería seguir en el boxeo, porque recuerdo que, o sea, le pagaban nada cuando empezaba a pelear.
Las cosas más bonitas que existen en la vida, para poder disfrutar de tus hijos, al final, con el sacrificio que haces, el subirte a dar la vida arriba del cuadrilátero, pues lo haces por ellos, no porque tengan un buen futuro, porque estén orgullosos de ti.
Saúl es un peleador ganador. Él se ha ganado el respeto de público, de colegas.
Es un homenaje a Canelo. Se lo hice con el corazón y nada más es la pura verdad.
Fine, no problem. We're in the magnificent T-Mobile Arena. The fans are expecting something really special here tonight as Canelo Álvarez takes on Dmitry Bivol, looking to capture another title at 175 pounds. Don't forget as well, this fight is live on Dazn pay-per-view. Chris Algieri with me today. Let's have a look at the prelims before we get going. We kick off with Fernando Molina. He takes on Ricardo Valdavinos. We then move to Eleanor Abdulraimov. He takes on a good one in Manuel Correa. Alexis Espino takes on Aaron Silva. Someone's O has got to go. And then we end the prelims with Joselito Velazquez versus Jose Soto. Great night of boxing expected here at the T-Mobile Arena. The fans are already starting to file in because they're expecting something special. Former world champion Chris Algieri with me here. Chris, this could be something special tonight.
Every time Canelo fights is something special. There's nothing like a Canelo fight week. We're in Las Vegas. We're on Cinco de Mayo weekend. I mean, the energy is palpable all week, and it's going to culminate tonight in the matchup with Dmitry Bivol.
You know what I've noticed throughout the week, as the fight gets closer, I'm seeing a few people maybe switch to the Bivol side, saying he's younger, he's stronger, no damage, ready to go. Are you starting to switch as well?
I wouldn't say that I'm switching, but I see the path. Bivol has a great chance to upset the champion, or at least give him a lot of trouble. He's got a very difficult style. He's got that in-and-out European style, fights very tall, very long, and he's big. 175. That's not Canelo's natural weight class. He's obviously going up in weight from 168. So Bivol poses a lot of problems for Canelo.
We've seen Canelo go up to 175 before he won that title from Sergey Kovalev a couple of years ago. What are the differences between Kovalev and Bivol?
Big difference. One is power. Kovalev is much better power. He's much more consistent with his jab, which would actually won him a lot of rounds in the Canelo fight. I actually just watched that fight this morning. And Kovalev has a lot less footwork. Bivol is a great footwork. He's got that in and out style. He's not afraid to not make too much action. He'll slow the pace down. And Canelo is going to be stalking, looking to put pressure. But Bivol's got great legs and great conditioning. So it's a very different fight than the Kovalev fight.
We've seen a lot of big punchers take on Canelo. Danny Jacobs, I just spoke to, Gennady Golovkin. I've seen them hit him with the hardest right hands ever, and he didn't budge. My question is then, if Bivol can't win by knockout, can he win on points?
Yes, but it's going to be very difficult to do in this room. With the crowd that's going to be here, and just the idea of everything that Canelo does, the crowd's going to roar. Every jab, every punch, everything he does do is very, very explosive and eye-catching. So he's a difficult guy to win rounds against.
What does Canelo do wrong? He does so many good things right. His feet are really good. Remember earlier, I thought his feet were a bit slow, a bit ploddy. His feet are good. He's got a great jab. Loves to go to the body with those hooks. What did he do wrong? If you're Team Bivol, you're looking for something.
Absolutely, it's his output, right? Especially in recent years. I think he punches a lot less, doesn't throw as many combinations, looks to really stalk. He'll get down in a fight. And he came back in the Kovalev fight was a fight where he was stalking, he knew he was going to get there. What if he runs out of time? Bivol has the opportunity to be that guy. If he can get to an early lead, keep from taking too much damage early on, he can make this very interesting down the stretch.
I spoke to Bivol in the week and I said, look, Bivol, you're not like Caleb Plant, you're not like Billy Joe Saunders. They seem to be almost rattled by the occasion. Bivol seems to be so cool and calm, but that also means sometimes he starts slow. He needs to rush his work and get some damage done early. But what about his demeanor all week? Seems relaxed.
Super stoic. He's ready for the occasion. It seems like one of those things, like he's been training for this his whole life, and he's been very confident in what he has been saying about this matchup and what he can do with Canelo. So yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. He needs to start early. Like I said, he's got to get out in front early on because those later rounds are going to be hectic.
It's weird. I feel like we judge Canelo by different yardsticks. Canelo's jumping up to 175 pounds, taking on an unbeaten world champion. And we're talking about Canelo versus Usyk. It's almost like, no, he needs to go bigger and bigger. Surely this is as big as a test as it gets for him, fighting an unbeaten champion.
Absolutely. When I heard that this fight was made, I was so surprised. I was like, man, Canelo really has some cojones, because this is some matchup, some tall task to go after. But even the thing with Usyk, Canelo believes that he can beat all of these guys. He sees opportunities when he watches their styles and watches their fights and goes, you know what, I can beat that guy. I'm daring to be great.
Is Bivol the best 175-pounder? Some people will say Baturbia of Joe Smith winner. Are we seeing the best 175-pounder, or is there still more work for Canelo to do at 175 pounds?
He says he wants to unify 175. I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do with these larger 75-pound guys, especially one as mobile as Bivol. And then
is he too small for the division then?
I thought he was too small for 68, but I was wrong. So I could be wrong again. It's going to depend. Then you mentioned Beterbiev. I mean, monster puncher. I mean, totally different thing than Bivol. But I mean, if he wants to stick around and make those fights happen, I'll pull up a chair. I'm ready to watch it.
So am I, and so is the rest of the world. We've seen him against Caleb Plant, we've seen him against Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, all unbeaten world champions. Is this the best yet, though? Are we seeing him in recent times, not discounting Gennady Golovkin, but his last 4 fights, is this the best opponent?
I think it's the most difficult style for sure. I think Bivol poses a lot of issues, undefeated, longtime champion, great amateur background. I mean, and then stylistically, he's a nightmare. So yeah, I think this is the toughest test for Canelo so far.
He certainly is a nightmare. Look, Canelo's done so many good things in the boxing. Let's see what makes Canelo what he is today. Okay, here we are, T-Mobile Arena, and I mentioned that the crowd are starting to fill in already. Expectations for what will be an absolutely fantastic fight card. We're only a few minutes away from getting the action underway here as well. Canelo is special, isn't he? He brings out some of the best in fighters, brings out some of the best in himself. When you think of the unbeaten fighters that he's fought recently, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, but he wants more. Hence why he's now gone up to 175 pounds, taking on the unbeaten Dmitry Bivol. But he wants more after that as well. He says he wants to unify and become undisputed in the division, which means maybe facing the winner of Joe Smith versus Beterbiev. It maybe is Gennady Golovkin as well in September. But right now, he's got business to handle tonight against Dmitry Bivol, a young, hungry fighter. No damage, no miles on the clock. And I think, and look, I was speaking to Chris Algieri there, I think this is his toughest test since GGG1. I really do. And this is not disrespecting the Danny Jacobs of the world and the other fighters I just mentioned, but I think Dmitry Bivol brings his own problems. Very skillful fighter, likes to cause damage early as well. So we're going to see the best of Canelo tonight, I really do. Got a fantastic undercard as well. Isn't just that. Let's not forget Gabriel Golaz versus Montana Love as well. So look, so much to come. Look, we've got more to come on DAZN throughout the night, including this.
Let's talk about my next fight. We want Floyd Mayweather. And I said, come on, this is not gonna happen. Floyd Mayweather is the pound for pound best fighter in the world. You've got to trust me here. Just wait a little longer. No, we want Floyd Mayweather.
Look, Floyd Mayweather in 2013 was the best fighter pound for pound in boxing. He was the biggest star. He was the most polarizing personality.
Pues mira, para pelear con Mayweather yo creo que nadie estuvo listo. Pero pues nosotros tenemos confianza en Saúl de que podíamos ganar la pelea.
I remember being so excited for the fight and having this level of anticipation of, was he the guy that could come in and dethrone Floyd?
All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening.
It was a bit early for him in his career, but he still went and took that fight, whereas really he didn't need to.
I want you to keep this fight clean at all times. I want you to protect yourself at all times. And what I say, you must obey. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up, Brennan Suarte.
They took the fight because they felt that because of Canelo's power and relentlessness, eventually they're going to catch Mayweather.
Canelo Álvarez, certainly the future of boxing, but the present, it's still Floyd Mayweather.
They knew that they're not going to outbox the wizard of boxing. They really felt there's going to come a point where they're going to catch him and going to be able to drop him. They felt that Floyd does make mistakes. But that night, Floyd knew what was at stake, that he had a young, hungry lion in the ring, And he did not make any mistakes that night.
Floyd was too slick, too clever, too experienced, too seasoned, as he was for most people during his career. No one beat him.
Floyd was 13 years older. He had way more experience in terms of fighting other elite guys, and I think you just came away thinking, well, one day, but not right now.
Floyd Money Mayweather.
I think sometimes a defeat can go one or two ways. You know, firstly, it can break you, and secondly, it can make you.
Creo que esa vez aprendió mucho, aprendió a saber lo que se siente perder una pelea. Entonces, a partir de ahí creo que ha sido lo mejor que le ha pasado esa derrota con Mayweather.
You have to wake up and you have to realize how much you want it, how much it hurts. And you've got to remember that feeling inside to use it to drive you to get better, to improve, to keep trying to create legacy.
Canelo could have given up or said, I'm going to train harder and come back, and that's what he did. You have to be focused, you have to be ready, and you have to be hungry again.
Right now I can barely focus. I'm showing no emotion. On your knees, show your devotion. I'm not here for bragging, boasting.
He has grown measurably because of the work he puts in the gym. Constantly in the lab with Eddie Reynoso, studying, learning new things.
Canelo trusts Eddie Reynoso to make the right decision.
Ya empiezo a ver cuáles son las cualidades del oponente, cuáles son sus virtudes y cuáles son las deficiencias técnicas. Son muchas cosas que tienes que hacer tu apunte para ya sobre de eso y ya después de eso también planear una buena estrategia a la hora de la pelea.
So if the loss to Mayweather felt like a step backwards initially, the truth was, it may have been the best possible preparation for the road that still lay ahead.
Oh, beautiful left uppercut.
He just started to tear through the competition.
Alvarez stalking. There's the left hook, the signature Mexican punch to the body.
James Kirkland, inferior fighter. He outpointed Miguel Cotto.
Alvarez landing the heavier blows in this round.
I think that's when we saw the rise of Canelo. He started to win world titles and also then defend world titles and also unify titles.
When you see a Canelo Álvarez fight, it's an event, it's a spectacle. To showcase to the world that this guy is the pound-for-pound #1 global star of the sport.
Welcome back live inside the T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Corey Erdman alongside Chris Algieri. We take a look at the tail of the tape for our opening contest, Fernando Molina and Ricardo Valdavinos. Let's send it down to the center of the ring with our ring announcer, Mr. David Diamante.
Ricardo, bad intentions of Valdavinos.
Well, in addition to being a boxer, the 8-1 Ricardo Valdavinos is something of a motivational speaker on Instagram. He says, "The way I gain strength is not through training and not through weights. It's through failed attempts, taking risk, pain, and the lessons that life has thrown at me." Valdavinos spent the early stages of his career picking up wins in Tijuana, and as a fighter without a major promoter has said that he has to crawl out of the mud if he wants to get to the top. A win here tonight over an undefeated prospect in Fernando Ángel Molina wouldn't just get him out of the mud, it would potentially put him on stable soil for the very first time in his career. Ricardo Valdavinos, nicknamed the Blessed One, fighting out of San Diego, California. A big test for him tonight here in our opening contest on Before the Bell.
Please welcome Fernando. Yeah. We are live on Zone pay-per-view for a big night on the World Championship professional boxing. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Manager Boxing, and association with Canelo Promotions, World Boxing, and Clase y Talento. We're sponsored by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Sell, BetMGM, the king of sports books, AutoZone, MGM's Rewards, Battleway, and Jurassic World Dominion. See it only in theaters June 10th. All of tonight's bouts are sanctioned with the auspices of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Stephen J. Klubeck. The executive director is Jeff Altman. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Nevada, Herman Bayless. Also from Nevada, Eric Cheek. And from Connecticut, Don Trump. As the sound developed, your third man in the ring from Nevada, referee Michael Ortega. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the green trunks. He's scaled 139.4 pounds. His professional record, 8 victories, 1 defeat. He has 5 wins coming by way of knockout. Representing San Diego, California, please welcome Ricardo. Bad Intentions Valdavinos. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears it the white, red, and green. With the gold trim, he scaled 139.6 pounds. His professional record thus far perfect: 7 fights, 7 victories, 3 of them coming by way of knockout. Desde Lomas del Paraíso, Guadalajara, Jalisco, México. Damas y caballeros, presentamos Fernando Molina.
Take that down. Take that down.
We are set to go for our opening contest here on Before the Bell. Corey Erdman alongside Chris Algieri on the call for you. Here was some daytime boxing as we're getting set for Canelo and Bivol a little bit later on tonight. Fernando, Angel Molina, and Ricardo Valdavinos going at it in 140-pound action. Round 1 underway. This one's scheduled for 6 rounds. And originally, Molina and Valdavinos expected Chris to be kind of a swing bout here tonight, but now have been given a firm slot. And, you know, although it is the first fight of the night, that has to be a relief for a fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always better when you know exactly when you're going to be stepping into the ring. Swing bout's tough. You get wrapped early, your hands are wrapped for a long time, your hands go numb. So for them to actually know they're going to open up the show, that's an advantage.
Fernando Molina, as we mentioned, just 19 years of age. Packed in over 200 amateur bouts before turning pro. He trains out of the Pacuno gym in Guadalajara, Mexico. Ricardo Valdavinos, we last saw him scoring a 6-round split decision over Giovanni Gonzalez back in October of 2019, so a little bit of ring rust to be shaken off for him here tonight. Although when he got the call for this fight about 5 weeks ago, Chris, he was already training at about 6,000 feet of altitude in Northern California, so that certainly can't hurt.
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's great for conditioning, especially going into camp. 5 weeks is plenty of time for a 6-round fight, especially if you're already in shape.
Good uppercut there from Molina. This is something we've seen from Molina in the past, the ability to both hook and throw an uppercut off the jab just like that.
I like what he's doing right now. He's moving, controlling the outside of the ring, but he's using his left hand lead. His jabs, his hooks, his uppercuts off that hand very, very well so far. Kind of like he's sitting on the right hand, saving it.
We saw Molina on the undercard of Chocolatino, Julio Cesar Martinez in San Diego back in March, and this was kind of his hallmark, Chris. These kind of flashy combinations. It shows his skill. You do have to wonder whether he'll get away with those types of combinations, as the opposition heightens. But for right now, this looks like a very talented 19-year-old.
Oh, absolutely. You can definitely see the skill set. You can see his experience. And he said he had over 200 amateur fights, and he's only 19 years old. He looks very sharp, very crisp so far.
Left hook from Molina, just misses over the top. Valdavinos using a little bit of head movement here on the entry. Molina looking for that uppercut once again.
There you go, get that jab going. No pay dividends. That body's soft.
Molina putting a little more mustard on these shots in the final 30 seconds of this round. As we enter the final 10 seconds of our opening contest on what will be a tremendous day and night of boxing here from Las Vegas. Round two underway. A good start for the 19-year-old Fernando Feroz Molina. And altogether, not a bad start for Ricardo Valdavinos either. We mentioned the ring rust, the inactivity since 2019, but also we've seen Valdavinos in trouble early in fights before. He was knocked out by the 2-2-3 Kevin Shax in the first round, that being in his first fight outside of Tijuana. So even that, Chris, maybe a little bit of a confidence boost for someone like Valdavinos.
Yeah, you know, getting out of the first round when you have that history is one thing. But he's taken the punches well so far. He's really just controlling the center of the ring, stalking, but he's been eating a lot of shots thus far.
Right back in his shit. Use the face. Get in there, son.
I mentioned Molina, discovered by Hall of Fame manager Shelly Finkel, who's had a hand in the careers of many legends through the years, names like Tyson and Holyfield, and more recently, Vladimir Klitschko and Deontay Wilder. Really saw something in Molina. Good right hand comes over the top from Molina. Molina looking again for that right hand that digs the left hand downstairs.
Yeah, you see Molina starting to build off all that work he did in the first round with that left hand. Like I said, he was saving that right hand for the right opportunities. He found it twice already, and that led up to the lead left hook to the body as well.
I think it's apparent visually that he's putting a little more mustard on these shots, but also as the arena is still filling up here, Chris, vocally you can hear that Molina's putting a little extra on these shots.
There you go, right back.
Another great shot with the left hook upstairs from Molina. Cracked the head back of Valdavinos.
Valdavinos started his career at 154 pounds and has moved his weight down to where he's fighting tonight at 140. Maybe that experience up at higher weights is helping him take some of these shots, but Molina, I think, just took a little bit of a headbutt there. Blinking, but no formal warning from the official after that one. Double jab from Molina and a right hand. Pretty combination there from the 19-year-old.
Yeah, Valdavinos is not really using his jab to close the distance, so you're getting a little bit of that heavy over that front foot, clashing a head style. So look for that down the line as this fight wears on.
Final 30 seconds of round two. As Molina plants a right hand right along the belt line of Ricardo Valdavinos. Looking very relaxed, very composed.
There you go.
Final 10 seconds here of round two. As Fernando Molina really starting to heat up here in the second frame. Round 3 begins as Ricardo Valdavinos looking for some answers as far as how to sustain some offense against the young Fernando Angel Molina. Valdavinos has been working in camp with Vincent Parra, who in recent years has helped guide Mo Hooker to a world title. And you know, Chris, we've been mentioning the relaxed attitude, the relaxed posture of Molina in the ring right now. I think that his last fight was an important one for his development, because up to that point, he'd effectively been facing other novices, and sometimes novices with losing records. But Miguel Angel Perez, we fought last time, was 12-11-2, a vastly more experienced fighter with the ability to take care of himself in the ring, but also still with a desire to win fights. Those types of fights often wind up going the distance for prospects. They don't look flashy on BoxRec, but I think they're valuable outings for someone like Molina as far as how to just pace yourself in the ring.
Absolutely. Getting rounds early on is really important. You know, a boxing career is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to learn along the way. And if you're blowing everybody out because of hand-picked opponents, you're not going to get the level of skill you're going to need to develop in the pro ranks when you get to when you actually need it.
Valdavinos trying to go to the body with a right hand. You mentioned the move down in weight gradually for Valdavinos, all the way down from 154 at the beginning of his career. And Chris, he said that prior to his last fight, it was really the first time that he'd ever taken nutrition seriously in his career. He's a personal trainer outside of boxing, but really hadn't thought about what he was eating. He basically said that I work out enough to burn it off, but he decided he'd reached a point in his adulthood and in his career when that just wasn't enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're young and you're working really hard, you know, boxing training burns tons of calories. A lot of times you can get away with that. But if you're looking to be a true professional and really make something of yourself, you've got to focus on every aspect, whether it's nutrition, it's sleep, it's rest, it's, you know, avoiding the social life. You know, these are all things that you learn as a young fighter.
Good work here from Molina, just not letting Valdavinos get set. And I wouldn't say so far, Chris, that I'm sensing frustration from Valdavinos, maybe a little bit there on the inside, but he certainly hasn't found an answer, and that right hand kind of said to me, I need to change something, because without the ability to plant my feet, Molina's not letting me. I don't know how I can land on him consistently.
Absolutely. Little by little, you see the spirit being broken of Valdavinos. He's coming forward, a lot of aggression, but no punches being thrown.
Round 4 begins in our 6th-round opener in the 140-pound division between Fernando Angel Molina and Ricardo Valdavinos. It has been cruise control for Molina thus far. He's been expertly boxing around Valdavinos, who really just hasn't been able to get anything cooking offensively thus far. Molina again just popping that jab. This is something that you and I saw from Molina in studying his tape prior to this fight and having seen him live a couple of times now. The ability to use that left hand and the ability to turn that jab quickly into kind of like a 45 sort of scoop uppercut, which I know is part of your repertoire as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He varies that left hand very, very well, and he uses it to set up his other power punches. I really like what I'm seeing from him. Very smart, very sharp. Right there for Valdavinos on the inside. But for the most part, he's been really keeping Valdavinos on the outside and just peppering him on the way in.
Right there, right back.
That right hand on the inside, probably the best shot of the fight for Valdavinos. Maybe a little borderline as to whether or not that was in the midst of a clinch.
Yeah, they were on the inside. I mean, I'll allow it, but that has been the best punch he's landed. Didn't seem like it had much of an effect on Molina.
A little bit of a tactical change you're sensing here from Valdavinos, just kind of selling out and trying to just weave his way to the inside, because trying to jab his way to the inside, frankly, just was not working. He was getting beat by the left hand of Molina again and again.
If he thinks he can win this fight in any way, shape, or form, he's going to have to let those hands go and go for broke, like you said. He's going to have to get rid of defense, come forward, get cracked with shots like that, but he's going to have to get hit in order to land the shots that he wants.
Maybe the best right hand of the fight for Molina. Connecting a moment ago. Good shot from Valdavinos, though. Another good shot from Valdavinos, a sweeping right hand, but a good counter at the same time from Molina.
Good things happen when you throw punches, and Valdavinos is learning that right now.
Another right hand connects from Valdavinos, and he is fired up.
Come on, be smart, baby.
The best sequence of the fight for the blessed one, Ricardo Valdavinos, who just ate a good left hook from Fernando Angel Molina. We said this was cruise control for Molina leading up to this round. He's finding some speed bumps right now.
Yeah, Valdavinos has found a home for that overhand right. He's hooking it nicely. It's funny that he found it from a clinch, but has now been landing on the outside.
Final 15 seconds of round 4, and perhaps the tenor of this fight has changed as Valdavinos connects on a right hand that lands right on the chest of Molina as the seconds tick away, but a good left hook right before the bell from Molina. Home for his right hand. And to your point, Chris, in the last round, it all started with him landing that right hand in the clinch. And sometimes that's all you need. Just land something anywhere, and that could be the turning point.
Well, in the first 3.5 rounds, he had literally not landed anything. So he found that he could touch his opponent. He saw that his left hand was down. He found a home for that shot, landed 3 or 4 good ones in that last round.
Not a bad start for Valdavinos. Again, another right hand, as Molina has not made an adjustment.
That's one thing. We talked about how busy that left hand of Molina is. When you're busy with your lead hand, you're open to right hands. You can punch over or through or in between punches. And when you got someone like Molina who's double, tripling up that left hand, there's opportunities for the right hand over the top.
Looks like the mouthpiece was dislodged from Valdavinos. And that's a really good point, because I think in a general sense, you would think that throwing more than one jab is a good thing, but it's not 100% of the time, if that's all you're doing.
Well, every time you throw a punch, you leave an opening, and there's one right there. You throw your jab, you're open over the top or underneath. And Valdavinos has found the overhand right has been very successful over the busy hand of Molina, busy left hand.
There's a good right hand that connects from Molina, trying to get his right hand working.
Nice body shot there from Molina. He landed some really nice body shots in the first round. Kind of got away from that. Hasn't thrown much since.
Or perhaps, good right hand.
Right hand spins the head of Valdavinos around.
Molina coming right over the top of that right hand, then digging to the body I think Molina has figured out that, okay, what I was doing before, trying to jab and hook off of that, Valdavinos is hip to that. Let's go to the inside and try something else. And right now, he's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Valdavinos was taking those shots well earlier when Molina was boxing. Now that they're throwing heavy bombs in the middle of the ring, some of those punches seem to be having more of an effect on Valdavinos.
Well, of course, the larger narrative of this fight is the development of Fernando Angel Molina, and these are the types of fights that are very important for a prospect like the 19-year-old Molina, having to adjust, having to completely switch up your game plan on the fly late in the fight.
Yeah, he's got a man in front of him who wants to win this fight. He saw an opportunity with those right hands, and he's trying to capitalize on that. Molina's got to dig deep, change up his style a little bit, and get it done.
At the same time, if you're Valdavinos, you're liking at least the geography of where this fight is right now. Even if he's taking some punishment, I think we all would agree that the best chance for Valdavino from jump was for this to turn into a war.
Yeah, we spoke about him going for broke and just coming forward and let his hands go. He's done that the last 2 rounds, and he's had some really good success. Another good right hand.
Good shots connecting from Valdavinos once again. And boy, that is potentially 2 rounds in the bank for Valdavinos at this point.
Valdavinos is doing some really good work, and I believe his punches are actually having more an effect on Molina than vice versa.
Sixth and final round begins between Fernando Angel Molina, the undefeated prospect out of Guadalajara, and Ricardo Valdavinos, 8-1 with 5 KOs. And we mentioned during Valdavinos' entrance what he said. He said that if I want to go somewhere in this sport, I'm going to have to drag it out of the mud. And he's basically dragged this fight out of the mud, Chris, because those first 3 rounds were a whitewash for Molina, and the tenor has entirely changed.
I love the attitude of Valdavinos. He's made this into a very, very fun fight to watch. Like you said, early on, it looked like it was going to be a washout for Molina, but he has been fighting back, landing on the strength of those right hands mostly, but he's making a fight out of this. And potentially could be earning himself a draw if he wins this round.
Good uppercut connects from Molina. Trying to utilize the dimensions of the ring here back to the perimeter where he was having success in the early rounds. Oh, good right hand again by Valdavinos. And again, you mentioned the possibility of a draw here, Chris. Yeah, Molina's doing some decent work. He's pot-shotting on the outside. But the shot that we remember to this point in this round is the right hand from Valdavinos.
Yeah, it's the thing about scoring. It's subjective. So it depends on what the judge who's looking at it likes. You never know how the scoring's going to go, what angle they're at, but yes, you're right. The more eye-catching punches, the punches that seem to be having more of an effect on their opponent are coming from Valdavinos.
We're halfway through the final round here. And really, you have to think, as Molina will touch the canvas there. Oh my goodness, that is a knockdown. What looked like potentially a footing issue will be called a knockdown.
Right back, baby, right back.
And that really changes things here, Chris.
Yes, that makes this very, very interesting. This round, this last minute of this round is going to really decide who wins this fight.
Right down, good, get in this shit.
Well, if this is scored a 10-8 round for Valdavinos, and let's say you gave the previous 2 rounds to Valdavinos as well,
you've got an upset.
Molina could be in trouble and in jeopardy of losing his flawless record in one way or another here, unless he can come up with something big here in the final 30 seconds.
To be fair, even a draw would be an upset in this situation.
Right back.
Oh, good shot. Snapping right hand from Molina.
10 seconds! 10 seconds!
Molina gave a very good account of himself closing out the 6th round.
Scorecards will be very interesting as Ricardo Valdavinos shocking the prognosticators here and making this one heck of a fight here to open our Before the Bell broadcast.
I still believe Molina won that fight. He did a lot of really good work, but he certainly got tested.
We'll see what the judges think of this one, Chris. I think whether Molina wins this fight or not, it comes down to, can you give him round 4 or 5? And if you can, then perhaps he can get the decision here. If you can't, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you know, Valdavinos landed some good right hands in those rounds. Was it enough to win those rounds definitively? I didn't think so, but the judges may. Well, I guess we will find out shortly.
So Fernando Angel Molina perhaps getting a little more than expected from Ricardo Valdavinos. But at the same time, when you turn pro at 16 years of age, you do hit these kinds of speed bumps. These do happen. When you've made the decision to effectively learn on the fly as a youngster, as a teenager, you will run into people like Valdavinos who are going to give you a little bit more trouble than perhaps the records and the resumes would indicate leading up to the fight.
I mean, absolutely. That's why we fight. I mean, we want to see what's really going to happen in there. And he's only 19 still. He's got a long way to go. But sometimes it works out really well. Look at our main event. Canelo Álvarez has been professional since he was 16 years old. Has come across many guys in many fights just like this one that were learning experience, stepping stones, and are now part of the legacy.
Looks like we are moments away from making this one official. Scorecards are in the ring, so let's send it down to our ring announcer, David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of action here at the T-Mobile Arena, we go to the judges' score totals. They read as follows. Dontrella, 57-56 for Valdavinos. Eric Cheek, 58-56 for Molina. And Kermit Bayless scores this bout 57-56 for your winner by split decision. He's still undefeated, Fernando.
Well, it was as close as we speculated it could be. Judges going in both directions, but ultimately, Fernando Angel Molina remains undefeated, and that was a little bit of a nail-biter, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we spoke about that during the rounds, especially in the last round with the knockdown. But yeah, the judges obviously saw what we saw, and it was a very close fight, and one that hopefully Molina will learn from, and their team can go back, look at the tape, go back to the drawing board, work on not getting hit with those right hands, because he got hit with a lot in the last 3 rounds.
Well, and now that he is undefeated, he can reflect on this as a learning experience. I mean, it's all great when you come out victorious at the end of the day. What do you think that Molina can improve upon looking at what we saw here tonight?
I think he can be a little bit more economical with that lead hand. I mean, it's a great punch, a combination that he uses off his left hand, the jabs, the hooks, the uppercuts, but he's got to be conscious of the defense as well. Get that head moving after you land that uppercut, after you land that left hook. Change levels instead of staying straight up.
We'll take a look back at some of the action from our opening contest, and it was a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys were going at it. In the beginning, it was all Molina, but by the middle rounds, 3, 4, 5, and 6, Valdavinos was really coming on. There you see the flash knockdown in the last round. Both these guys laid it all on the line in that last minute.
And Ricardo Valdavinos, obviously a little bit disappointed, but nonetheless, Fernando Angel Molina still undefeated.
Good win for Molina there. Yeah, a bit controversial on the scorecards, but a good win nonetheless. We've got more action coming up as well. Next, we've got Elmer Rydel versus Manuel Correa. Guys, I'm with my Dazn Boxing Boys. We're here now. This is it. We're getting close. We're getting close to see what Canelo can do again at 175.
I'm feeling him. It's not just...
No, that's gas.
No, that's not the Mexican food I ate last night. No, it's true. Look, the betting odds, they're not always right. And we've known that in boxing history where they don't get it right. I think Bivol is the most dangerous opponent that Canelo has faced since Triple G. And there's a lot to say about that. He's faced some good opposition.
Good opposition.
Caleb Plant. You're talking about guys like Daniel Jacobs, so many out there. And to say that he's facing the most difficult guy, it says a lot. And he's undefeated.
He's also a big guy. He's a big guy, and he moves, and we know what gives Canelo problems. Movers, jabbers, and that size. So I can understand why they're saying that.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's cross back to Correa and Chris Algieri.
Thank you so much, fellas. It's time for our next contest, and this is one that we have been looking forward to, Chris. Eleanor Abdulraimov, the Uzbek Olympian, taking on Manuel Correa, a battle of undefeated lightweights. We see the tail of the tape here. Abdulraimov with a slight advantage in height and, of course, a monstrous advantage when it comes to amateur pedigree and experience. We're ready to go. Let's send it down to our ring announcer, David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, the action continues with an 8-round super featherweight affair. Set to make his ring walk, please welcome Manny Sweet Dreams Correa.
Well, by now, we've all heard plenty of remarkable stories about boxers persevering during the pandemic. But Manny Correa's story is one we haven't heard yet. Correa used his stimulus check to pay for his 2020 bout against Dakota Lester. And in fact, as of 2020, had only been paid for one bout in his career, having to pay for his own fights in order to make opportunities for himself. A graduate of the backyard fighting scene in South Florida, Correa has risen from boxing's deepest depths to get a career-altering opportunity tonight on the Canelo Bivol undercard.
Talk about betting on yourself.
Literally betting on yourself. Well, when an Uzbek prospect pops up, the boxing world tends to pay attention, thanks to the conveyor belt of exceptional pro talent the amateur system from Uzbekistan has produced over the last 5 to 10 years. The 8-0 Eleanor Abdulraimov set off people's radars in the amateurs, where he developed a reputation as one of the most exciting fighters on the elite amateur circuit. A 2020 Olympian, Abdulraimov is now 8-0, as mentioned, and fully focused on his pro career at 130 pounds and hoping to move quickly towards title opportunities, much like some of his former national teammates have been able to do. Well, this should be a good one. Let's send it down to our ring announcer, David Diamante.
Las Vegas, Nevada. We are set to go with a special super featherweight affair live on Dazn. And it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Renner, Matchroom Boxing, in association with World of Boxing. We're sponsored by Hennessy. Never stop, never settle. BetMGM, the king of sports books. AutoZone, MGM Resort Rewards, Value, and Jurassic World Dominion. See it only in theaters on June 10th. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Nevada, Patricia Morse-Jarman. Also from Nevada, Ricardo Ocasio. And from Oklahoma, David Sutherland. And at the South Belt, your 3rd man in the ring from Nevada, referee Robert Boyle. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting under the red corner, wearing the solid black trunks. He's scaled 128.6 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 11 fights, 11 victories, 7 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out in Miami, Florida, by way of Santiago de Cuba. Please welcome Manny Sweet Dreams Correa. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the gray trunks with the black trim. His southpaw scales are in 129.6 pounds. His professional record, also a perfect one. 8 fights, 8 victories, 7 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Indio, California, here is the 2020 Olympian and the 2017 Asian Championship gold medalist, Elmer Abdulraimov.
Okay, guys, I expect you both to show me something during this fight. Anything on this belt line is going to be legal. Anything on this belt line will make legal, okay? I want you to obey my command. Most important, no gravity punches. Don't touch them up, screw back.
Let's go, Manny.
So we are ready to get another look at Eleanor Abdulraimov. He was one of the most exciting amateurs at the top level over the last couple of years. Now fully focused on his pro career and taking on Manny Correa here tonight. Round 1 scheduled for 8. See Abdulraimov in the gray and black trunks. Manny Correa in the black trimmed with red. We mentioned Correa's backyard fighting acumen, but after that, said one of his relatives saw a video of him knocking someone out in the backyard and said, hey, I think you should go try boxing for real. He did, and he did wind up winning a Florida Golden Gloves. Not quite as impressive as going to the Olympics by Abdulraimov, but Correa is certainly no slouch.
No, but I'm seeing something technically right away that's going to be a big issue. He's fighting with his chin way up in the air. Pretty much every time he throws a punch, he picks his head up. When he's trying to evade the punches of Abdulraimov, he's backing up with his chin in the air. Someone with the skill set and level and experience that Abdulraimov has, he's going to pick up on that very quickly.
And one thing that Abdulraimov is very good at, as he connects on a good left hand there, is throwing that left hand to the body. He nailed it right there.
Yes, right on cue. Good
and
shot.
You and I were talking prior to the broadcast about the posture of Correa. Having those elbows kind of splayed out wide is almost like a screaming target for that left hand of Abdulraimov, who rocks it back against the ropes.
Yeah, between the chin up in the air and the elbows flared, there's a lot of opportunities for Abdulraimov to get his power shots in there.
Correa in trouble here early on, and a ton of time for Abdulraimov to finish the job here in the opening round.
Oh, another good body shot inside there from Abdulraimov. That left hook to the liver. Swings that beautifully around the elbows. And look at his hand position. Catches those punches right over the top with little ease, little to no issue. Very, very sharp, good work from Abdulraimov so far.
He's applying a lot of mental and physical pressure here. And I don't know that Correa has connected on anything, and Abdulraimov has been right in front of him basically this entire round.
Yeah, Abdulraimov now is landing the right hook as well to the body. Oh, another good shot.
Correa does seem to have recovered a little bit after that left hand had him wobbled along the ropes.
Another thing that I noticed about Abdulraimov that I really like is his balance. He's got great posture. He's always in good balance. He doesn't get too heavy over his front foot, even though he's being very offensive. He's always in a position to fade back just like that and make his opponent miss. Really, really classy stuff from Abdulraimov so far.
Final 10 seconds of the opening round as Abdulraimov connected on one last good left hand just a moment ago. Excellent start for the Olympian.
No importa el obstáculo, sigue luchando, sigue trabajando para honrar a tu familia, tu herencia, tu cultura. Nos levantamos para que el mundo sepa lo lejos que hemos llegado. Estamos aquí para hacer historia.
Let's take a look at some of the replays from the opening round.
The round was all Abdulraimov. There, I spoke right off the bat about Correa having the bad habit of pulling back straight with his shin up in the air. There we saw the left hand, which was honestly only grazing, but hurt Correa pretty bad. And then there was also a ton of really good body work from Abdulraimov throughout. So very good round for the Olympian.
Round 2 begins. We saw Abdulraimov on Dazn last December, scoring a 6-round TKO win over John Gamino, who's back in Uzbekistan. And we were watching that fight yesterday, Chris, and as Abdulraimov rocks Correa back with a hard left hand. There were a couple shots in that fight, Chris, that were called low blows. That could have been body shot knockouts, at least twice, I think, of that fight.
Yeah, they were clean punches. And his opponent was taking every opportunity and every liberty to call out low blows, so he had extra time to recover.
Left hand connected from Abdulraimov. And another one sends Correa down to the canvas for the first time. I didn't like the body language from Correa on the left hand prior to that one. Now 2 minutes remaining in round 2.
Yeah, I think it serves Abdulraimov very well to throw that left hand straight down the middle and throw it beyond his opponent's head, because he's going to pull straight back in a straight line and still get hit on the chin with it. There it is, with the chin up in the air again. Good body shot underneath, too.
Blood on the face of Correa as well.
There it is, that straight left hand right down the middle. Splits the guard. Correa has no defense for that.
Abdulraimov just absolutely painting Correa with left hands at the moment.
Again, Abdulraimov just looks so strong on the inside. He's got that great posture, great balance. Hands are always in right position. Ooh, man.
Right hook comes over the top. Left hand now raining in.
If you can hear these shots on ringside, they are brutal. Bone-crunching shots.
And a second knockdown as a wobbly Correa comes up pouring blood with a little less than a minute remaining in round 2.
I can't imagine this going much longer. But Correa's game, he's in there throwing.
Correa willing to go down swinging here. It's a valiant effort, but he is in there with a blue chip prospect in Abdulraimov.
Abdulraimov saying, ooh.
Down goes Correa for a third time, and that is it.
Good stoppage. His legs are really hurt.
Absolute dominance from Eleanor Abdulraimov.
You know, Corey, we spoke about this off air when we were watching these two in their previous bouts, and we pretty much predicted this is exactly what was going to happen. Abdulraimov is a very, very special prospect. And Correa, tough, very, very tough, but just there's different levels to this game.
See Abdulraimov's trainer, Joel Diaz. The trainer of many of the Uzbek contenders, champions, and prospects. A tough night for Manny Correa, who, as we talked about, came up about as hard as you could come up in the boxing game, paying for your own fights, rising from the backyard boxing scene to even get on this stage is a victory for Manny Correa.
Yeah, I mean, you got a story from opposite sides of the world, these two guys, figuratively and literally. But, yeah, I mean, I guess, well, I can't say anything more or high enough about Abdulraimov and his performance just now. He looked phenomenal. This kid's going to be around for a long time, and don't be surprised if he's in a world title fight soon.
Looks like we are ready to make this one official. Let's send it down to David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Robert Boyle calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 2 minutes and 43 seconds on round number 2. Your winner by TKO, he's still undefeated, Elmer Abdulraimov.
So Eleanor Abdulraimov improves to 9-0. 8 of those wins have come by way of knockout, and this was an impressive one on a big stage on the undercard of Canelo Bivol. And as Chris mentioned, Eleanor Abdulraimov, a name that, well, it wouldn't be shocking to see him.
Abdulraimov was just letting both hands go while Correa was on the ropes. Finally, it was a one single straight left hand down the middle that had Correa's legs in trouble, and the referee stopped it.
Yeah, very strong and good win there for Eleanor Abdulraimov. We were talking on camera about, look, fast tracking is clearly a lot better than this level right now. 130 pounds. He might be ready to go.
You can't that, but you can also see that Correa was so unexperienced. He didn't even know that after he gets hurt, hold a little, take a knee, do something.
No, I mean, you called it, Addy. You said it early in the week. Listen, this kid got a lot of potential. I've seen clips before. He impressed me tonight.
Yeah, very impressive tonight. Remember, this is almost the lucky free version right now. If you want to watch the pay-per-view version, you see the QR code on the screen. Make sure you get that QR code. If you're struggling to do that, go to DAZN.com. You don't want to miss the main event. You really don't. Dmitry Bivol versus Canelo. Let's continue to talk about Dmitry Bivol versus Canelo. What chance do you give Bivol? Let's be realistic here. What chance do you give him against the pound-for-pound #1?
If we had to do percentage, I'd say 45%. I'm serious, because he's a big guy. He's a big guy. We spoke to Daniel Jacobs. He says size sometimes negates all of those other attributes that the other fighter has. And I agree with that. And he's a fighter who can also move and punch and be a little tricky in there.
Well, the odd makers don't agree with you, Barack. The reason why is because...
What do you do? 45. He says 45. What do you say?
Listen, it's at the level that Canelo's fighting in right now, with the level of opposition that he's faced in the last 3 or 4 years, compare that to the level of opposition that Bivol has faced. You have to base it on that.
I said that about Cambosis.
Listen,
what happened.
That's fine, but how often does that happen? How often do we see
Joe Smith, Sullivan Barrera? That's good level.
Compare that to
Joe Smith's a world champion.
Triple G, Daniel Jacobs, Caleb Plant.
You win the argument now. I'm not even trying to have that with you. You're winning it.
With all that being said, Eddie, I'm not saying that Bivol doesn't have a shot. We all know he does. I mean, he's undefeated, decorated amateur. This guy is not a guy that, not a soft touch. But if you're talking percentages, I say 25-75 Canelo.
What I said 45 is not even a disrespectful thing to Canelo, because in reality, he would probably feel disrespected by what you said, because he's chasing greatness. In Canelo's mind, he's like, this is a strong test for me, not a 25%.
Right. Like when he says out of here, I'm ready for anything. I can fight with any style. He doesn't seem like he's worried.
Okay, he says any style. What style does Bivol have to cause problems to him tonight?
I think movement, but Barack brought up a great point early in the week. Bivol is bouncy, he's great, but he moves back and forward, no lateral movement. Canelo is a master at getting past guys that move back. He knows how to cut the ring off. His head movement is second to none in boxing today. So if you look at it stylistically, he has a perfect style to beat Bivol.
One thing that we have seen is Gennady Golovkin walk down Canelo. It's the only fighter I've seen walk down Canelo in recent years. Does Bivol have enough about him in terms of power, strength, to push Canelo onto the back foot? Canelo's such a good front foot fighter. On the back foot, maybe not as good.
I don't think Golovkin had the power to push him back. I think that was just Canelo's game plan, because we saw what happened in the second fight. He pushed Gennady Golovkin back, and no one does that. So I don't really think I don't think anybody has the power to push him back. In actuality, I think Gennady Golovkin punches harder than everybody. I think he punches harder than 175-pounders.
One thing we have to notice, Addy, is that the fact that the moment later on tonight, I don't know whether it's a couple of hours, the lights, the crowd, the Mexican crowd, I know he's feeling comfortable during the fight week, but in that ring when the lights shine, will he be comfortable?
Let's find out. Let's hear from the winning camp, Eleanor Abdulraimov. Good win. He's speaking to our ringside reporter.
Well, guys, you're talking about Dmitry Bivol coming up later tonight. We are with the man whose training facility was housing Dmitry Bivol and a host of talented Uzbek fighters. Joel Diaz, you were just in the corner of Eleanor Abdulraimov with his big victory over Manny Correa. Pretty textbook, pretty flawless. What were your thoughts there as he picks up his 9th victory?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure being here, part of this event. Showing the world and the fans the fighters that we have in our stable. Eleanor Abdulraimov is one of the best fighters in camp. Very disciplined, strong, one of the best 130-pounders, and you guys will see a lot of him in the future because he has a great amateur pedigree. You know, talking about tonight's fight, I think it's a great fight. All my Uzbek fighters, they're a team, they're a family, and they're always together, you know. So as you saw Abdulraimov today, later today, tonight you will see Shakram Gyasov as well. You know, all these Uzbek fighters have a goal in mind, to become world champions. They're here to show what they're made of and to show their discipline and hard work.
Really quick, from what we just saw with Abdulraimov, really keeping his opponent along the edges, connecting early with the left hand. That all part of the game plan, or is that something that he reacts to on the fly?
Well, it's two things at once, because he reacts with his left, plus we always watch. The main plan for this fight, watching Correa, is basically keep throwing the left. Moving to your right, throw the left, because he's one-dimensional. He comes forward, and he's there for the left. So when we saw that it worked, when I told Abdulraimov, hey, jab, jab, left, and I saw they landed, I said, let's keep working on that. It's always in the land because he's right there to get hit with the left.
You touched on it briefly before. We saw Eleanor pick up a victory. Shakram coming up later tonight. What is the common denominator between all of these talented Uzbek fighters?
Wow, it's hard, man, because everybody has a great style of their own, and every single fighter is good in their own style, and different divisions, different styles, and I mean, I see every single one of the Uzbek fighters that I have in my gym that will be great fighters and they will be world champions.
Thanks a lot, Joel. You're going to be a busy man tonight. We'll see you often. Joel Diaz, trainer there for Shakram Gyasov and a whole host of other fighters on this card. Gentlemen, back up to you.
Yeah, always great to hear from Joel Diaz. Such a great speaker, and he has got Shakram Gyasov as well later on tonight, a guy that I think is ready to compete with some of the best 147 pounds. Good trainer, Joel Diaz.
You know, he is. I mean, look, ever since Timothy Bradley and him split up, he had like kind of a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to make sure, no, I'm just saying, he wanted to make sure that, listen, any fight I'll bring out to that ring, I'm going to create winners, and I want to prove to the world that he made a mistake in going with Teddy Atlas. That's what I can think of. I'm sorry.
Look, he is a good trainer. He's got a lot of Uzbekistan fighters in his camp as well. He's in the same camp as Dmitry Bivol. Good trainer. Very, very good trainer. I almost feel like sometimes underrated as a trainer because we have a lot of good trainers. He's one of the best out there.
I think he's a good trainer, but he's also outspoken.
Yeah.
And sometimes
you guys can talk.
He's also outspoken. He's the kind of guy that will give his prediction against a Mexican fighter and go against the whole grain because he's judging from his heart, truthfulness, you know?
He's judging from his heart, truthfully. A great undercard action so far. A big one coming up as well next. We've got Aaron Silva versus Alexis Espino. I like that one as well. Someone's O has got to go. That's what they say, right? In boxing, both of these guys are going to want to keep that. We've just seen one. Both of those guys are going to want to keep it.
Yeah, I like Espino. I like Espino. I like his size, his confidence, his energy. Even leading up in the fight week, I like after Wayne, his energy going into this fight. I don't know. I'm going with him. I'm feeling Espino.
I like what you're doing. Interesting.
I say 50-50 fight, man, because you never know. I always say this. You never know how great a person is until they get to prove it.
Until they get to prove it, indeed. Let's go back to our commentary team of Corey Erdman and Chris Algieri.
Thank you so much, fellas. As you described it, this is a 50-50 fight coming up next. A couple of undefeated super middleweight prospects, Alexis Espino and Aaron Silva, both with 9 wins, both with 6 knockouts, both big fighters for the division, although you see Alexis Espino with a slight advantage in reach. Let's send it down to David Diamante for the introductions.
On the zone, we're set to go with a special super middleweight attraction. Set to make his ring walk, please welcome Aaron Superman Silva.
Of the 9-0, Aaron Silva, who is the slight betting favorite here tonight. Perhaps a little bit of a surprise for those of you who have watched Alexis Espino effectively grow up on this platform, now getting a serious test against a fellow undefeated fighter in Aaron Superman Silva out of Monterrey, Mexico, an area that you're quite familiar with as well, Chris.
Yes, absolutely. I know quite a bit about Aaron Silva. He's a very, very talented young fighter. This fight's funny. It's kind of like a mirror match. these guys kind of look alike. They're similar in size. Their records are obviously exactly the same. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Should be just moments away from the entrance of Aaron Silva. Still to come on our Before the Bell broadcast, Joselito Velazquez and Jose Soto. A really good flyweight fight will conclude our portion of tonight's broadcast. And then, of course, a little bit later on, Canelo and Bivol live on Dazn pay-per-view. There's Aaron Silva. Well, several years ago, after obtaining his degree in engineering at Nuevo Leon University, Silva had started his internship and was sitting in a meeting. And according to Silva, his mind began to wander and he thought to himself, hey Aaron, what would you prefer, work all your life or train all your life and dedicate your whole life to boxing? Therein lies the key question. Silva walked out of the office and made the decision to focus on boxing, linked up with Daniel Ponce de Leon, who's his manager, and is walking towards what he describes as a life-changing opportunity tonight in Las Vegas.
Ciso Espino.
We mentioned the betting odds for this contest, and this is the first time that Alexis Espino will walk to the ring as the betting underdog in his career. Espino fought to a draw with Rodolfo Gomez Jr. on the undercard of Devin Haney, Jojo Diaz last December, the first blemish on his pro resume, and apparently the odds makers took notice and also took notice of Aaron Silva. But he couldn't have asked for better preparation in order to bounce back here tonight after being tasked with being one of Dmitry Bivol's main sparring partners leading up to tonight's main event. Espino is fighting in familiar territory in his hometown of Las Vegas and is looking to get back into familiar territory, the win column, here tonight. Certainly a big confidence boost, Chris, when you're sparring with a fighter who is in the main event and a fighter the caliber of Dmitry Bivol.
Absolutely, but I mean, he's no stranger to that. Espino trains at the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, where there are tons of studs and world champions there. Espino has gotten tremendous work over the years. Nothing new for him.
Two undefeated prospects going at it here on Before the Bell. We are ready for this one. Let's send it down to our ring announcer, David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, live on DAZN pay-per-view, we are set to go with a special super middleweight attraction. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, AutoZone, MGM Rewards, Value, and Jurassic World Dominion. See it only in theaters June 10th. Introducing your three judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Nevada, Kermit Bayless. From California, Max DeLuca. And from Connecticut, Don Trella. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring at the bell from Illinois, referee Celestino Ruiz. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, weighing the red, white, and green. He scaled 164.4 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 9 fights, 9 victories, 6 of them coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico, Aaron Superman Silva. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the black trunks Blue trunks with the black trim. He scaled 163.6 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 9 wins, no losses, 1 defeat, and 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, please welcome Alexis Macizo Espino.
Okay, we're a little bit high here. We're good here, right here. Okay, guys, these are the belt line. I gave you guys your instruction in the dressing room. I expect a clean, fair fight, start to finish. Good luck. Touch up.
Well, it is crunch time for Alexis Espino, who, as we mentioned, suffered the first blemish to his pro resume last time out, a draw with Rodolfo Gomez Jr., and now being matched in a fight where at bell time he was the betting underdog against Aaron Silva. Round 1 underway. This one's scheduled for 8. Alexis Espino in the blue trunks trimmed with black. See Aaron Silva in the trunks trimmed with the colors of the Mexican flag.
You can see that reach advantage from Espino right away. He's a little bit taller, a little bit longer reach in the arms.
You know, all the fighters at the Robert Garcia gym, Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, where Espino trains, they all rave about Alexis Espino's power. Joselito Lopez was talking about how hard he hits, but Robert said in an interview a couple of weeks ago, number one, I think Espino doesn't realize how hard he hits, but number two, Garcia feels that sometimes he can be a little bit too cautious.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about the gym wars and the gym work from Alexis Espino as well, and he hasn't really shown it that much in the pro ranks yet.
Good shot there from Silva. A right hand comes over the top. Both Espino and Silva with very similar approaches, Chris. And there's another right hand from Silva, flush on the chin of Espino. And he must have a good one because he's taken some good leather here in the early going.
Great timing on that shot from Superman. He threw the overhand right, got his head off line, landed perfectly on Espino there. We got blood from the nose of Espino as well.
He came behind that right hand with a popping jab and then did it once again. Terrific start here for Superman Silva.
Yeah, sly smile there from Silva as he backs into the ropes.
Silva says that little by little, people are going to learn my name. If he keeps going like this, his name is going to be on a few headlines.
He's doing a really good job landing that right hand.
Espino still trying to find his range. Oh, there's a good right hand from Espino. Another right hand connects from Silva.
I think as long as this fight lasts, it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be fun back and forth.
Jarring right hand from Espino, but back comes Silva immediately.
These guys are going tick for tack in the first round. See the blood there from the nose of Espino as he's head movement.
Silva and Espino trading power shots in the final 40 seconds of this round. This one is as advertised, a 50-50 fight as Silva lands one last hard jab before the bell.
Great opening round.
No importa el obstáculo, sigue luchando, sigue trabajando para honrar a tu familia, tu herencia, tu cultura. Nos levantamos para que el mundo sepa lo lejos que hemos llegado. Estamos aquí para hacer historia.
Round 2 begins as Alexis Espino, the sparring partner, chief sparring partner of Dmitry Bivol, getting all he can handle from Aaron Superman Silva in the opening round. And really, Chris, these are the types of matchups that boxing fans want to see prospects in. These are two guys in their early 20s, undefeated, both good punchers. You know, this is how fans want prospects to be tested more often.
Listen, if you're going to be on, if you're televised fight card, especially in this magnitude, it's got to be a good fight. And honestly, this is a crossroads type fight between two budding prospects. And it's kind of funny to see guys like this early in their career fighting each other. But like we said, if you're going to be an undercard of a big show like this, you got to perform.
Well, Silva admitted that he didn't expect to be on this kind of stage this early in his career. Good shot there from Espino. Silva tries to reply with an up jab that just sails past the ear of Espino in reply. Shot to the body from Silva, right hand from Espino.
Yeah, these guys are consistently trying to one-up each other. It's back and forth action. Very, very evenly matched. Aye, good left hook by Espino over the top.
Perfect counter there from Espino.
Both guys utilizing good upper body movement, head movement. I haven't really seen them do that much in the past, but pretty good stuff so far.
Well, and it was that upper body movement and the head movement that created the opening for Espino to land that eye-catching left hook. Much better round here for Espino.
Yeah. He's making that slip up jab a powerful weapon so far.
Things were looking kind of scary for Espino in the early going, but he certainly corrected the course here.
Yeah, mostly on the strengths of the right hand from Silva in that first round. Good head movement again there from Espino.
Well-timed jab from Espino. Final 30 seconds of round 2.
Alexis is definitely showing that he's been working in the gym. He's got some new folds to his game.
Final 10 seconds of a terrific bounce-back round for the 22-year-old Alexis Espino.
Yeah, he's found his rhythm well.
Some of the replays and the good work from Alexis Espino in round 2.
A lot of it's coming off the strength of that good jab that Espino found in round number 1 and really capitalized in round number 2. Here we see him pinning Silva against the ropes and utilizing good head movement and a little push-pull to make Silva swing wildly and miss.
Round 3 begins. And really, it was the head movement of Espino that stood out in round 2. And it's interesting because he was talking earlier this week about sparring Dmitry Bivol and some of the things that Bivol is able to do, which is basically not expend any energy, but just be moving his head and baiting you into counters. And it almost seems like he's picked up a few tricks from Bivol.
Yeah, a lot of the big shots that Espino landed in that round were off of his head movement, making Silva miss. Because Silva, when he does throw, he goes for broke. He throws big shots, and when he misses, he is off balance.
Saw Robert Garcia in the corner of Alexis Espino, and he pointed out that he's been in a similar situation, a similar scenario to Espino tonight, sparring someone and then fighting on the same card as them. Garcia did it for his pro debut, sparring Gennaro Hernandez, and then fighting on the undercard of Hernandez's title fight against Masuaki Takeda back in 1992.
Some nice history there. Canelo Hernandez, fantastic champion.
Gennaro's brother, of course, is a tremendous trainer.
Ooh, good lead uppercut right hand combination there from Silva. Lands on the chin of Espino.
That's not a combination that'll land that often, Chris, but when you can land it, it's obviously going to take effect.
Yeah, we talked about Espino's head movement, his ability to fire off that. Silva actually does that as well, too. He's an explosive guy. He'll slip that inside, throw that up hook, up jab, or uppercut off the lead hand, and follows with the right hand nicely.
Good left hook connected from Silva a moment ago, and another one comes right back with it.
Traded left hooks there. Another left hook from Espino. Silva flashing the jab, splitting the guard of Espino there a few times.
Well, this is what you expect to see in a well-matched 50-50 kind of fight. Guys kind of volleying back and forth and making adjustments on the fly, which is what we're now seeing out of Silva.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those fights that in the second half we see who's able to separate themselves and take advantage of the fight.
Silva missing with a big right hand a moment ago. Espino looking for that check left hook again, goes back down to the body with a jab.
Both men look to be in tremendous condition. They both look leaner than I've seen them in the past, and they're throwing a high volume of punches and maintaining the same pace.
Trade hooks once again with 15 seconds remaining. Action-packed round 3.
Hard rounds to score. These guys are literally going back and forth.
We'll take a look back at some of the action from round 3, a back-and-forth round. Good moments for both fighters.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, both men flash good jabs. Big right hands are in there. Both men utilizing good upper body movement and head movement in order to land their offense. Here we see action from both guys having success. Very, very evenly matched fight so far.
That easier?
Round 4 underway. Alexis Espino and Aaron Silva going at it here on Before the Bell, as we await Canelo and Bivol coming up a little bit later on. And throughout our broadcast, you'll see the QR code pop up on your screen. You can scan that to order tonight's pay-per-view. Alexis Espino has fought on many undercards of Canelo Álvarez, and when he was signed by Matchroom, there were people touting him as the next Canelo, and those are lofty expectations to live up to. And Chris, you and I were talking about this as well, that in this era of boxing, where there's an unprecedented amount of boxing being broadcast, prospects like Espino grow up on camera, and right now is facing something new. He is seriously hurt.
He's hurt bad.
Aaron Silva all over Alexis Espino. Just trying to stay on his feet. He's another big right hand along the ropes. And that is it. This one is way off. Alexis Espino has been stopped by Aaron Silva.
Huge win for Aaron Silva. Massive statement made.
Well, prior to that sequence, Chris, we were talking about the lofty expectations for Alexis Espino. Growing up on camera, you get to kind of see those flaws in a way that you didn't previously. Those expectations were high for Alexis Espino.
Every stumble, every misstep for a fighter like him who's grown up in front of our eyes, you're going to see. like you had mentioned that off air, we don't always get to see some of those stumbles of other fighters, like even Canelo, for example, who had many, many fights in Mexico way before we ever heard about him. So he could have had fights like that were maybe not as stellar in the performance that we're used to. But yeah, no, it's a different era. We're seeing a lot more boxing. There's a lot more content needing to be produced, and we're seeing these guys come out of the amateur ranks, and they're thrown right into the spotlight of the pro game.
Well, what a win for Aaron Silva, who now, in effect, takes the place of Alexis Espino, takes the spotlight away from Espino as Silva improves to 10-0. We mentioned, he said prior to this fight, little by little, people are going to learn my name. People are going to know his name after this one. This is a fighter to watch.
Yeah, huge statement made. Big win. Did it in an emphatic fashion. You got to love a fight like that. It's so evenly matched early on. They're literally going tick for tack, and then boom, explosive, gets the stoppage. But I will say, Espino, if he had a little more experience, if he would have tied his man up or took a knee, he could have potentially gotten himself out of trouble.
Well, let's make this one official. Let's send it down to David
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Celestino Ruiz calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 1 minute and 17 seconds of round number 4. Your winner by TKO. He's still undefeated, Aaron Superman Silva.
So Aaron Superman Silva entered as the betting favorite, and he made the odds makers look good in this one. He said a couple of years ago, I was a person who wasn't dedicated, wasn't as focused, wasn't as persistent as I am now. Well, boy, did he turn his life and career around here tonight.
Tremendous performance. He said this was going to be a life-changing night, and it absolutely will be. I think we're going to see a lot of this kid in the future.
Massive win for Aaron Silva, no doubt not the last we'll see of Alexis Espino, but back to the drawing board for the young prospect from Las Vegas. We'll take a look back at some of the action from this fight. A monstrous win for Superman Silva.
I mean, it was pretty much two-fisted fury from the opening bell. These guys are going back and forth, tick for tack, really well matched. Excellent action from both men. But then eventually it was the heavy shots from Aaron Silva that had Espino in a world of trouble, brought himself to the ropes, and Silva just unloaded with a two-fisted attack to the head, to the body. Referee had seen enough, stops the fight. And now you have a 10-0 Aaron Silva.
So a new name to watch at 168. He is Aaron Silva. Let's throw it up to Ade, Ak, and Barak.
Yeah, very good win for Aaron Silva. Espino showed a bit of immaturity, I think, there. There was time maybe to take a knee, to hold, didn't know what to do.
Absolutely, but he was hurt as well. Yeah. You know, and yeah, it is immaturity because he had about 10, 15 unanswered punches and he was still arguing the referee.
Yeah, I mean, when there's no answer for that onslaught, you got to let it go. Now, as far as in the fight, I thought his conditioning was bad. I thought he got tired and gassed out earlier. Obviously, Silva was more prepared for this, undefeated showdown. Kudos to him.
But he looked like he was the one that was pressing the fight earlier, right?
I did pick Espino, but then what did I tell you before the fight?
The poncho. You picked him because of the poncho.
I like the way his poncho was fitting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're picking fights on ponchos now. That's what we're doing. One thing I did see, Aaron Silva looked a lot bigger, I thought, than Espino in the ring.
Yeah. A lot stronger, more cut up, more in shape. Listen, I see a good future for Silva. I like it.
What Silva showed me is he showed patience because he was backing up at times, fighting on the back foot, but he showed patience. He said, I'm going to pick my shots well, and look what happened.
Right. What do you do now with Espino? He's coming off a draw, he's coming off a loss. Do you go back to the drawing board, maybe look at your doing? Do you look at your training setup? I mean, do you take big jumps like that? What do you do?
Hell yeah, you go back to the drawing board. First, you got to check yourself mentally and say, all right, why did I lose? Once you dissect that, go back to the drawing board, come back again.
Yeah, but losing like that, sometimes there are a lot of young fighters, I've seen it coming up, they're never the same after getting stopped early in their career.
Yeah, big win for Aaron Silva. Let's hear from the man now.
We're with Aaron Silva, victorious here over Alexis Espino. He picked up his 10th pro win. We also have his manager, Benjamin, by his side. Aaron, you told me earlier this week the strategy was to end it in 6. You do it a little bit earlier. Take me through this early stoppage for you.
Sí, pues te dije en el round 6, pero tenía un poquito de prisa, entonces le metimos nitro y fue en el round 4, pero bueno, el resultado se dio.
I know I was going to knock him out at round number 6, but I feel like he was getting hurt with my punches. So I was like, why not doing it at the fourth round? So I told everyone I wasn't going to be talking about it, and I wasn't going to show my skills in the ring.
But you had a back and forth third round, but then in that fourth round, the opening was there with that right hand. After you landed that punch and you sensed that he was hurt, what did you do after that? What led to them stopping this fight?
Pues una vez que lo vi herido, dije pues de aquí soy y tengo que aprovechar la oportunidad porque a lo mejor se recupera y ya no se vuelve a debilitar como en ese round. Entonces dije, todo es momento y oportunidad y agarré la oportunidad.
Just like you say, you know, I felt like he got my punch, he got injured. I didn't want to get crazy, so I was trying to connect harder and heavier punches and try to take him out because, like I say, number 4, it was the key for me to finish this fight.
Aaron, you talked about the process of doing this right, coming up as a fighter from Mexico, now breaking into the U.S., but stressing patience in doing this step by step the right way. How validating does it feel getting a win on a Canelo undercard?
Pues bueno, no tengo explicaciones para este sentimiento que tengo. Solo sé que estoy muy contento, muy feliz, muy agradecido con todo mi equipo, con Dios, con mi entrenador que no pudo estar el día de hoy. Pero esta pelea es de él y mía.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank God. And also, I feel like everything was there for me to take it. And I just want to mention my trainer that he couldn't get in the States because some visa issues. But for Marco Arad Flores, one of the best trainers in Monterrey, Mexico.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
Aaron Silva victorious. Aaron, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the people and all my fans. I love you.
Go back to Adi upstairs.
Yeah, great to hear from Aaron Silva. Very good prospect in the middleweight or super middleweight division. We've still got Joselito Velazquez versus Jose Soto coming up. But earlier on the Dazn boxing show, I called up with a lady that made history at Madison Square Garden last week, Katie Taylor. This is what she had to say. I told you we got special guests. It doesn't get much special than this lady, does it? Katie Taylor, who put on a fight for the ages against Amanda Serrano last week at Madison Square Garden, New York. Wow. Have you watched it back yet, Katie?
I actually haven't had a chance to watch it back yet.
Really?
It's been a really, really busy week, but an amazing week and an amazing night for the sport and for women's boxing as a whole. And yeah, but both myself and Amanda showed up, and I think we definitely elevated the sport, and that's the best part about it.
Yeah, and everyone spoke about you elevating the sport yourself. And almost felt like you needed a dance partner to kind of take it to that next level. And credit to Amanda, she was that person to take you up.
Yeah, I've always known Amanda is such a great champion, a great fighter, and this was the best versus the best. And we definitely didn't disappoint. I think the fight actually exceeded everybody's expectations, and there's so much hype before the fight and the lead up to this fight, and I'm so glad that we actually produced a great performance.
We're watching sort of footage now of some of the rounds. I mean, you went to war. And it's funny because, look, as a boxer, and I said this in the lead up to the fight, look, on the back foot, Katie Taylor's got this all day long. There's something about you where you just want to have a war. Someone hits you, you want to hit them back harder.
Well, what's wrong with me? I don't know. I don't know why I love a tarot so much, but I think it's just it's the heart, isn't it? And you want to entertain, and I guess I just had that fight in me, and yeah, sometimes I do definitely fight fire with fire sometimes, and it's great for the crowd, but it's not great for my coach's heart.
No, it's not. Even as a big fan of yours, it's not good for my heart either. I'm watching it thinking, okay, enough of this. Get back on your boxing and let's start amateur boxing style and just win this on points. You've been in some tough fights. Delphine Pursoon, I thought was a tough fight. Linda Dartu, I thought was tough as well. Tasha Jonas. Just how tough was Amanda Serrano? Everyone says that she hits hard. How hard does she hit?
Yeah, she definitely hits hard. I think we probably both probably were in against both of our best opponents. So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't. Nothing surprised me in the fight. I don't think. I definitely was prepared for everything that came my way on the actual night, and I'm so glad that I was able to produce a great performance and the biggest victory of my career.
Let's talk about the Irish fans. I mentioned to Ak, who's just gone off there, and I said, look, Ak, I understand you're Puerto Rican, but you don't get it when the Irish turn up. They turn up. But even you must have walked out and thought, okay, this is just incredible?
It was just absolutely incredible. I even knew from the weigh-in that the amount of Irish fans that were there, and the Puerto Rican fans, both were fantastic. But yeah, you definitely can't outshout the Irish people, that's for sure. And just the walk in, the ring walk, I just was soaking the atmosphere up, and it's just the whole experience was incredible. The atmosphere is amazing. So it's just such a special night for the sport.
It was such a slow ring walk from you, from the locker to the ring.
Yeah.
It looked like a lot was going through your head. Was it just a case of, okay, look, we have to get in the zone here? Because normally I watch your ring walks and, you know, you get to the ring.
Yeah.
This one, you was almost looking around, taking it all in. What was that about?
Yeah, I just wanted to soak it up, soak all the atmosphere up, and yeah, this is a special night. I was just loving the fact that there's so many fans there. So many Irish people actually travelled over to the fight. I was so grateful for all of that, and I just wanted to soak it all up and get my mind ready for the actual the actual fight. And I walked into a worship song, one of my favourite worship songs, and as I was walking up to the ring, I was actually worshipping while I was walking up to the ring to actually produce a great performance, and that for me was just everything. Yeah.
I was watching the fight backstage with Chris Algieri, and we both said that you looked like a gladiator.
Yeah.
Your outfit was almost a case of, okay, we're going into war here.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't going to be pretty, this is going to be difficult at times. It's almost like you prepared yourself for the worst, but in the end, it brought out the best in you.
Yeah, I think I was prepared for everything that came my way on the actual night, and I do have a gladiator's heart and a warrior's heart, I think, and Amanda does as well.
Yeah.
I think we both showed that, and I think we both knew that going into this fight, there was going to be times where we're going to be in the trenches, but I was prepared to go into the trenches. I've done that time and time again in the gym, and I was able to come through on the night as well.
Kate, you've shown me so much so far in your career, not just as a pro, but as an amateur as well. That round 5, I've watched it back so many times. How you summoned up something to get out of that round 5, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there were times in there, Katie, when obviously she was hitting you a lot. Your legs looked like they were going to buckle, but you just continued to keep going.
Yeah.
Came out for round 6, and you went again to the well. I mean, you went to the well there about 5. Most people can only go to the well once.
Yeah.
You went there about 4 or 5 times. Where does that come from?
I think, you know, when you're preparing for these kind of fights, that's when the training comes in. You're so well conditioned, and you just recover so much faster. You don't just show the courage and the heart on fight now. You show the courage and the heart every single day in training. And when you do that, you're able to come through those moments like that. And I wasn't worried at all going back to the corner after the 5th round. I knew it was a bad round for me.
Yeah.
But I knew all I had to do was adjust and adapt, and I just came out the 6th round a different fighter.
You did. After the fight, there's that amazing photo of your coach sort of holding you aloft and screaming.
Yeah.
I said to everyone, you probably followed me on Twitter, I said, I'm going to frame that. That's going in my house. What an amazing picture. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, an amazing photo. And my coach was saying the same thing, that he was loving that photo was going around. But it's such a long training camp for this fight. A lot of talk over the last few months about that fight. And when you come out victorious, it's just a special moment, isn't it, for myself, for my coach, all the hard work that he's put in as well. And just for my team, my family, an amazing night. And then I'm hearing the news that 1.5 million viewers actually tuned in that night as well.
1.5 million.
Incredible.
And they said no one watches female boxing.
Yeah.
So who are they watching?
And this is going to be probably the fight of the year as well.
100%.
So, just every single thing, it was just an amazing night for the sport.
What was your feeling when the scorecards are being read out? It goes to, the first scorecard goes to Amanda, then it goes to you, and then there's David Diamante, who's very good at this. He almost lets the tension rise a little bit. Are you thinking you've done enough to nick it? You're thinking it's a draw? What are you thinking?
I felt I had done enough to win the fight, but obviously I knew it was a close fight as well. But I was confident after the final bell rang that I definitely did enough during the championship rounds to actually get the fight, and that was the actual case as well. And I was just absolutely over the moon. I was delighted, and I don't think I've ever showed so much emotion after.
We've never seen that with you, really. Yeah, it's almost a case of thank you, give me the belts, I'm going home.
Yeah, exactly. But just with the magnitude of this fight, a history-making fight, and the win was obviously the biggest night in my career. I don't think.
Bigger than the Olympic gold?
Exactly, I was going to say, I don't think anything could have actually topped the Olympic gold medal, but last Saturday night that definitely exceeded that, and that was in itself is amazing.
It certainly was. I'm always in the ring, and you shove a mic up someone's nose and say, "Okay, what next?"
Yeah.
And I think it's wrong. It's difficult. Can you just give me time to celebrate, please? You've had a week to digest it. Are you going to go again? I mean, there's talk about the fight going back to Madison Square Garden. If it is a rematch, back to Ireland.
Yeah.
We've always wanted to see you fight.
Yeah.
Have you had time to even think about what could be next?
Yeah, I think a rematch would actually be brilliant. I think
makes me laugh that you want that again.
Yeah. I mean, why not? I'm obviously up for any challenge. I want to fight the best out there. So, but I would absolutely love to fight in Ireland. I think a big fight in Croke Park, 80,000 people. We could actually fill out an 80,000 seat arena. I think that would probably be the only thing that could actually top what happened last week. It would be a homecoming in Ireland, and imagine filling 80,000 people. That would be very, very special.
If she
for
thought
the sport.
Madison Square Garden was loud for the Irish, imagine she gets to Croke Park and that.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and that would be easy to sell as well. I think we could absolutely, just with the fight, with how big it was, we could actually sell 80,000 arena. That's insane. The fact that we're even having this conversation.
It's crazy, right?
So yeah, that would be amazing.
You've done this. You and the Mandarin, what you've built in boxing. Look, you are the female pound-for-pound number one. I hate saying that because for me, you're one of the top 5 fighters on the planet, female or male.
Yeah.
The pound-for-pound king fights today against Dmitry Bivol. How do you think Canelo gets on against Dmitry?
Well, it's very, very hard to overlook Canelo, isn't it? He's a pound-for-pound king.
Yeah.
He always produces fight after fight after fight. He has everything, doesn't he?
Do you think he does, yeah? I mean, you must watch it from a different eye than what we do, our near mortals. You're watching it from being one of the best boxers on the planet. Do you think he has everything?
He has absolutely everything. He can fight, he can box, he's defensively brilliant. And he's very, very hard to hit. Very calm and composed in there. He's just absolutely phenomenal. He's got a great IQ. And obviously a great team of people around him as well.
Yeah.
With Eddie Reynoso in the corner, so he just has it all. And it's every single time Canelo fights, he always turns up and produces a phenomenal performance. And I expect nothing else from tonight.
Look, he's got a lot of pressure considering what you've done at Madison Square Garden. Canelo, we need something a bit special this evening. Look, we certainly do. What do you do now? A little break? Do you chill out? I know you like to be in camp. Do you just stop, hit that pause button for a couple of months?
I'm obviously just taking it easy for the time being. I'm actually was back in the gym this week.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Just doing a bit of light training, but nothing too hectic. But I actually love being in the gym. I love training. But yeah, it's great just being able to relax and take it easy and just enjoying time with family really. Yeah.
Final question, Katie. Do you know what you're doing for female boxing? Like, do you sometimes just sit back, feet up on the chair, thinking, "Look what we've done"? Yeah. Do you ever think this?
I mean, I think I'll probably think about it when I actually retire from the sport. But it's very, very hard when you're actually in the middle of your career. You're always thinking about the next fight and what you need to do to improve and these sort of things. But to be honest, after the last fight, I was obviously so proud. But I think both myself and Amanda have came out winners in that fight because we both have torn down so many barriers in the sport, and in some way we both came out victorious. Indeed. And just an iconic night for the sport, wasn't it? And I was very, very proud.
Very, very proud indeed. Katie Taylor, fantastic. She's here after that last week. And look, you know what we're going to do? We're going to walk around some of the arenas so people can really give you your flowers because she's an absolutely fantastic fighter. Great interview, if I must say so myself. I enjoyed doing that with Katie Taylor. I really did. Look, you guys have been to Madison Square Garden a lot of times. It's in your backyard. Of all the fights you've gone there, and you've seen so many with so many great fighters, that must be in your top 3 or 4. It must be number 1.
No. You were there.
I was there. I was there.
You know the answer to that question.
Go on,
it's the most epic fight that I've witnessed at MSG. In fact, it's one of the most epic fights I've ever witnessed in my life. And I've been to Wembley with AJ, Povetkin, Tottenham Stadium with AJ, Usyk. We've been to Canelo, Floyd. So that says a lot.
Let's just talk about the Garden itself.
Yeah.
It's closed in, so the sound is different. But we've been to Cotto fights, Tito fights, and I've never heard the crowd that loud. Seriously.
Do we do it again? She wants it again. Katie Taylor wants Amanda Serrano again. Quick one, at the Garden or do we go to Ireland?
Look, I say come to Vegas. Let's make it a neutral spot. I don't know about Ireland. I'm feeling this arena. I'm feeling something in Vegas, something neutral. Maybe Texas. Let's go to the Cowboy Stadium.
Let's go to the Cowboy Stadium.
We know the Irish are coming.
We certainly will. We've got more action to come. Let's go to Corey Feldman and Chris Algieri.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It is time for our fourth and final bout of the Before the Bell portion of our broadcast, and it is a good one at a catch weight of about 113 pounds. Technically at super flyweight, but these are two rising flyweight contenders, Joselito Velazquez and Jose Soto. You see Soto with a slight height advantage, Joselito Velazquez with the Olympic pedigree. Both these men looking to enter the world rankings in short order. Let's send it down to our ring announcer, Mr. David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're set to go with our next contest. 10 rounds in the flyweight division. Set to make his ring walk, please welcome Jose Soto.
Well, the 15-1 Jose Soto recently linked up with a legendary figure in Colombian boxing, training with former super bantamweight champion and longtime contender Luis Mendoza. However, Mendoza was not able to make the trip to the United States for this fight. Without his primary trainer in his corner tonight, Soto looks to carry the improvements made under Mendoza into the ring and get back into the top 15 in the rankings in a sanctioning body where he was prior to a bizarre DQ loss to former champion Ganigan Lopez last time out. He says this time, I am not going to waste my opportunity.
And now set to make his ring walk, please welcome Joselito Velazquez.
Well, this is one of the newest members of Team Canelo, so to speak, the newest Eddie Reynoso trainee, Joselito Velazquez, fights on a Canelo undercard for the second straight time. The 2020 Olympian left trainer Freddie Roach and went to Reynoso looking to make some corrections after a draw with the 5-2 Carlos Mejia last May. Velazquez feels that he's corrected some critical mistakes and wants to be as close as possible to a world title shot by the end of 2022 or early 2023. And a convincing win over Jose Soto would signify that he is headed in that direction. Terrific flyweight matchup here. Concluding things on Before the Bell, let's send it down to David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, live on Dazn pay-per-view, we are set to go with a special flyweight attraction. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, in association with Canelo Promotions and Clase y Talento. We are sponsored by Hennessy. Never stop, never settle. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. AutoZone, MGM Rewards, Value, and Jurassic World Dominion. See it only in theaters June 10th. Introducing your three judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Nevada, Ricardo Ocasio. From Oklahoma, David Sutherland. And from New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring from Nevada, Michael Ortega. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled in the flyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner wearing the black trunks with the gold trim. He scaled 113.8 pounds. His professional record, 15 wins, only 1 defeat. He has 6 wins coming by way of knockout. El Orgullo de Canalete, Cordoba, Colombia. Here is Jose Soto. Soto. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the black trunks with the gold trim. He scaled 112.4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 14 wins, no losses, 1 draw, and 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Cancun, Quintana Roo, Mexico. Damas y caballeros, Joselito Velazquez. Velazquez.
Center. Yo quiero una pelea bien limpia. Buena suerte a los dos. Todas las manos.
So a good-looking flyweight matchup in our fourth and final bout here on Before the Bell. Corey Erdman and Chris Algieri on the call for you here today. Joselito Velazquez and Jose Soto. A couple of fighters looking to enter the world rankings. For Jose Soto, looking to get back in the world rankings. He's ranked number 13 by the WBA, as we referenced, prior to his disqualification loss to Ganigan Lopez. And Chris, you and I watched that fight not that long ago, rewatched that fight. You know, he was disqualified for excessive headbutts. They certainly weren't intentional headbutts. I think you could qualify it as kind of willful recklessness, but I think a lot of other referees wouldn't have stopped that fight. And prior to the stoppage, he was not only beating but hurting Ganigan Lopez.
Yeah, that was a very surprising end to that fight. Soto, he's just a rough guy. You know, he's in there with his head, he's in there with his elbows. He's very front forward, heavy over that front foot, as you can see in his stance right now. He likes to throw big, wide punches, so the head comes together at times. I don't think it was intentional. I don't think that fight should have been stopped.
Joselito Velazquez looking to get his right hand going here in the early going. So we mentioned the blemish on Soto's record. The draw on Velazquez's record, that came 2 fights ago against the 5-2 Carlos Mejia. That was in Tijuana last May. And frankly, I think that Velazquez was just kind of troubled by the aggression, the physicality of Mejia in that fight. And so if you're looking optimistically at Soto's chances in this fight, you know, maybe a little bit of that recklessness plays to his advantage.
Yeah, Corey, that's a great assessment. I think in that fight, Velazquez, like you said, I mean, the pressure, he just was kind of gun-shy at times because he had someone in front of him that was throwing big shots and being very aggressive. And honestly, that's exactly how Soto fights. Moments ago, we saw Soto was fighting out of the southpaw stance. Now he's back to the orthodox stance.
Soto will switch frequently, as we've seen in the past. Sometimes, frankly, that does cause headbutts because he kind of gets caught in transition as he's winging punches. Shot to the body there from Velazquez, and the heads nearly come together there right away.
I think that's going to be always an issue with Jose Soto and just his style of fighting. In boxing terms, we would call that guy a billy goat. You never want to fight a billy goat. You end up with cuts and knots all over your forehead.
A couple of good shots to the body from Soto. There was a right hand and a left hook that connected right along the belt line. Looking to go back downstairs. Velazquez getting back on his jab. He says that Eddie Reynoso and working with Canelo personally as well have helped him improve his jab.
Velazquez, he's looking very, very tight right now. Explosive, firing out of that compact position. His hand position is fantastic. Beautiful right hand over the top there from Velazquez.
Good counter left hook there from Soto a moment ago as well. Some good action here in our opening round.
You see Soto holding on tight there. That right hand might have had an effect.
No importa el obstáculo, sigue luchando, sigue trabajando para honrar a tu familia, tu herencia, tu cultura. Nos levantamos para que el mundo sepa lo lejos que hemos llegado. Estamos aquí para hacer historia.
Y no lo sueltes, te voy a quitar un punto.
A little bit of admonishment there for Jose Soto from the official as round 2 begins. Joselito Velazquez, Mexican Olympian from 2016, taking on Jose Soto. reference that Velazquez, one of the newer members of the Eddie Reynoso camp, he was training alongside Oscar Valdez, who of course fought last week. And basically every fighter in that camp has a fight coming up, which is a good atmosphere to be in for someone like Velazquez.
Oh, that's the best. I love it when we have a lot of fights in the gym. The energy's just different. Everybody's just on a next level, heightened level of instincts. And yeah, it just picks up everybody's energy. Everybody trains harder. Ooh, good body shot there from Soto.
Trying to come over the top of the right hand, but he got countered with a good left hook by Velazquez.
You can see right away Velazquez has the advantage in speed and explosiveness, but Soto has got power, man. He's physically strong.
Now, one thing you pointed out is that Velazquez looked a little bit tight, and I don't think you meant that necessarily in a derogatory sense. I feel that Velazquez looks a little bit more compact than we've seen before.
Compact is a very good term for what Velazquez looks right now. He's very, very compact, explosive, and his hands are in great position.
Good right hand there from Velazquez. Soto tries to reply, but forced to tie up. And Velazquez talked about something very specific that Canelo has helped him with. He said that he was sparring with bigger fighters, and he was having trouble blocking jabs. And Canelo has taught him how to do that. And when you look at Canelo and just how relaxed he is as he's bobbing and weaving and just parrying jabs away, like he's done against so many fighters in recent years, you can see why. I mean, that's a pretty good guy to learn from.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, over the years, I think that's been the biggest improvement to Canelo's game, has been his defense, his awareness, his head movement. I mean, it's second to none right now in the sport.
We just saw Velazquez parry away a couple of jabs, come back with his own. It'll come in handy against Soto, who, as we've seen throughout his career, loves to double that jab. He's very active with his left hand. There's 3 or 4 jabs in a row, then digs back down to the body.
Yeah, when he rips combinations, he's at his best. Ooh, good shots from both men there. Lead uppercut from Soto and the overhand right from Velazquez lands clean. There's another one.
Soto doesn't want to take too many of those in succession. Some good momentum building here for Velazquez.
This combination there from Soto on the inside. And I love flyweight fights. Guys throw a ton of punches.
Ooh, another right hand. That one might have rocked Soto. Soto's going to try and flurry out of this one, but I think Velazquez thinks he has Soto in a precarious position here. Not a lot of time to work with, and the seconds will tick away. We'll take a look at some of the action from round 2. A big one for Joselito Velazquez.
Nice lead uppercut there from Soto, and then an even bigger, nicer shot from Velazquez with the right hand over the top. Both men not having trouble finding each other thus far. There's another right hand over the top from Velazquez. You know what I'll say, Corey? The most impressive aspect that I've seen from, or the most impressed I am by Velazquez so far is his calmness, his demeanor. He's staying very within himself.
Round 3 begins. I also kind of noticed a change in the physique of Velazquez as well. He's very lean earlier in his career, a little more muscle-bound here tonight, and maybe paying dividends with those right hands that have rocked Soto thus far.
Yeah, he certainly looks more explosive than he has in the past. Even his head movement there. You know, he dips, he's very, very quick, very explosive. There's the jab.
And sometimes this is all it takes for a fighter. Just a change in trainers. Obviously, Freddie Rocha, a phenomenal trainer, but maybe for Velazquez, not quite the right fit. He found that Reynoso, with his insistence upon drilling defense and parrying these jabs, has made the difference for him.
I'm seeing a difference in the style for sure. He just threw a lead hook that looked very Canelo-esque.
Good body shots from Soto there. One thing to remember about Soto, yeah, he does have that loss on his record. It's a DQ loss. Soto believes, in effect, that he is an undefeated fighter.
I look at him as such. I believe that he should have won that fight, or at least been allowed to continue in that fight, and he was at the time winning.
Perfect counter from Velazquez. A couple of left hooks connect. There was a right hand in that sequence as well. Soto is here for it, but it's Velazquez getting the best of these exchanges.
Nice dig to the body there from Velazquez. Got a little mouse under the eye of Velazquez.
Soto's definitely getting his licks in as well, but the eye-catching shots to this point have primarily come from Velazquez.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely been more effective and has been able to, seems like, affect his opponent more. Soto's been taking the punch as well, but some of the shots definitely had him in a bad way.
Less than a minute left to go in round 3. This one's scheduled for 10. Flurry to the body from Velazquez. Just leaning on Soto. Replies with a right hand. Now working out of the southpaw stance.
Nice short shots on the inside from Velazquez. Very accurate work from the Olympian. Good body shot there. Soto felt that.
There was a hard right hand from Soto to the body as well, but again, if they're trading punches, he's not getting the better of the proposition.
Yeah, and that's usually what he likes. He likes a firefight. He likes guys to trade with him because he does have power. But Velazquez is just getting there quicker and more explosive.
See some of the work from Joselito Velazquez from the last round.
Some beautiful shots here from Velazquez. It was a counter left hook that had Soto in trouble, and then the overhand right as Soto was trying to throw with him. Both landed very well. Hard, clean shots from Velazquez all night long.
Round 4 underway, and reading body language and the miming of the corner in Joselito Velazquez. Looks to me, Chris, like they want Velazquez to start coming up the middle, maybe start shooting some uppercuts.
Yeah, I think off of his defense, off of that tight hand position that he has, those uppercuts could be an effective weapon. I wouldn't mind seeing him focus a little more towards the body. Soto has a long torso. And with those wide punches that he throws, there are opportunities to sneak body shots in there.
Soto's been focused heavily on body work here so far. Velazquez has done some good work downstairs as well. And there's Soto again with a good left hook.
There's that stance I was talking about with Soto, fighting so heavy over his front foot.
And I think because of that stance, Chris, we've seen this from Soto in the past. One thing he'll often do is kind of finish a shot and just let his weight carry him to the opposite stance. But Velazquez is standing so firm and standing his ground, he's been able to capitalize that on the inside right there.
Yeah, Velazquez has fought a brilliant fight in order to not make those head collisions a factor, which can really throw you off your game. Good right hand to the body there from Velazquez.
Soto really following through and falling forward with that right hand. He got caught with a chopping shot from Velazquez.
Soto really swings those body shots, man, with both hands. Right hand and left hook. There's another one.
Trading body shots. Soto. Good volume here on the inside.
Yeah, neither man showing a whole lot of footwork.
Left hand to the body, right hand to the body from Soto. Good work. The man from Canalete, Colombia.
There you see the physical strength of Velazquez on the inside, able to just muscle Soto into the corner when they got close.
These are still early stages of the fight as well, so even if you think that Velazquez is winning these rounds, he's still taking hard body shots, and Soto could punch. You never know what could happen. One of these shots could change the trajectory of this bout. A hard right hand from Velazquez. And another one. Soto squaring up on the inside, and he is paying for it.
Those are some heavy shots. Oh, another good overhand right. Catches Soto.
Soto tries to settle himself after that right hand, but comes back with a flurry. Good action in round 4. Well, a firefight broke out in round 4 here, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Soto had some success. He landed some nice combinations, really started to let his hands go. Velazquez was staying just along with him and then really started to pick it up toward the end of the round, landing some big shots there. You see the big left hook over the top, which had Soto holding on a little bit.
Round 5 begins. This fight turned out to be a little bit of an inside battle in round 4. Jose Soto starting to kind of force the issue and making Velazquez work on the inside. It'll be up to the judges who's getting the better of these exchanges, but Jose Soto has certainly shown himself to be a brave fighter. He got the call for this fight about 2 months ago. He said, sure. Got the call 2 years ago to fight Bam Rodriguez, and he said, sure, I'll take that also. So he's hunting for tough challenges, and he's giving Joselito Velazquez exactly that tonight.
Soto's actually having some good success when he gets on his feet a little bit. I'm not used to really seeing him be able to circle around the ring, but he does it quite well, especially when he stops and fires combinations. Digging to the body on both sides.
Soto with a very kind of loose, relaxed, slinging delivery. Hard body shots. Velazquez comes down the pipe with the right hand. You get the sense that Soto's kind of settling into a rhythm here, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, he's finding he's having some success when he's using his feet and just firing combinations from the outside using his height, even if he doesn't have that much of a reach advantage.
Right hand comes over the top from Velazquez. Some rough stuff on the inside, but no head clashes to speak of so far. Maybe Soto being particularly careful after what happened against Gannigan Lopez.
I don't think it's so much him. I believe it's Velazquez. Between his balance and his hand position, he's not leaving a lot of room for the heads to come together.
Inside the final minute of round 5.
Catch and shoot there from Velazquez.
Soto just keeps slinging punches here. Not all of these are landing, but he's consistently keeping Velazquez's hands occupied.
Yeah, that's a great point, Corey. Oh,
there's another one. A slapping right hand, and back comes Velazquez with one of his own. Excellent stuff here from Velazquez and Soto.
Better round for Soto this round, but still taking a lot of heavy shots. Jose Soto showing some good durability in this fight.
Oh, and that shot might have strayed a little bit low. The referee certainly thinks so. And a warning for Velazquez.
Good warning, that was a very low shot.
I guess it wouldn't be a Jose Soto fight without fouls becoming an issue. That'll do it for round 5.
Without the referee's involvement.
Let's take a look at how low this low blow was, Chris.
Yeah, from what I saw, it looked pretty. Yeah, that was low. That was under the belt line. Those shots hurt.
Bloquea y agárralo aquí, mueve la cintura y abajo, y después le buscas esto arriba, güey.
Round 6 begins, and thus far it has been the volume of Jose Soto and the precision of Joselito Velazquez. We're seeing a lot of exchanges that are, 8 punches from Soto, but maybe 2 from Velazquez, and one of them is a right hand that snaps Soto's head back.
Yeah, I think the second half of this fight is going to be very interesting. Soto is getting himself more into the fight. He's shown a great beard, taking big shots like that one, that left hook and that right hand. But as you said, Corey, it seems like some of those combinations and his rhythm are starting to be effective.
Soto is set. Big left hook connects from Velazquez, and Soto is in trouble. He's firing back. He settles. I don't think he should. Down goes Jose Soto.
Huge counter left hook shots.
And that's it. Joselito Velazquez, a brilliant left hook knockout, and the referee makes the decision to wave this one off. Not a fierce protest from Soto or his corner right now about that one being waved off.
I mean, I would have liked to see a little bit more, but you never know. What a referee sees in a man's eyes when he gets up. But wow, I mean, Velazquez, tremendous left hooks. And Soto just was in there, said, he waved him on. He was, let's exchange, let's throw. And he got caught again, went down hard.
Yeah, Soto basically asked for the knockout, and he got what he asked for. At the beginning of that round, we referenced kind of the tenor of this fight, which is that Soto was throwing more, but Velazquez was able to stand in the fire and land the harder shots. That's exactly how he ended this fight.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the fight was going to get very interesting, and I mean, man, it did, but not the way I expected.
Right. The biggest win of the career of Joselito Velazquez so far. Will improve to 15-0. That's the 10th knockout of his career, and you certainly have to look at the improvements he's made under the Reynoso camp. All right, let's make this one official. Let's send it down to Mr. David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Michael Ortega calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 1 minute and 6 seconds of round number 6. Your winner by TKO, he's still undefeated, Joselito Velazquez.
On the undercard of Canelo Álvarez, whom he now trades alongside, he said that Canelo helped him make improvements. He said that Canelo helped him stand in there and parry shots. And a lot of that specifically led to the knockout he scored tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the improvements are there. He went out there, he performed. He had a tough guy in front of him, a guy who was starting to come on. And I mean, he closed the show with emphatic fashion.
I mean, how many knockouts have we seen Canelo score by just catching and shooting that left hook? It was a Canelo-esque finish from Velazquez. Setting things up for our main event later on tonight. Canelo and Dmitry Bivol. And Velazquez putting an exclamation mark on the before the bell portion of our broadcast as we take a look back at some of the action.
Great performance throughout from Velazquez. He stayed super tight, super compact, very explosive. His punches were very precise. Hand position was fantastic. So extremely, extremely sharp performance from Velazquez against a very tough Jose Soto, who was coming to win, was throwing big shots himself, landing good shots, especially to the body, but it was that left hook counter. And there he is, waving on the shot, getting hit with another big left hook, dropped on his back. Got up, wanted to continue, but the referee saw something in his eyes and waved it off. And there's your winner, Joselito Velazquez.
So Jose Soto waved Velazquez on. He got what he asked for. And Joselito Velazquez gets the performance that he wanted here tonight. Well, let's send it up to our panel, Ade, Ak, and Barak.
Yeah, Ak's run away. He's coming now. Ak's going to get in there. Ak, get in there.
Come on.
Ak's
why are you scared? You're
now.
wrong
Don't be scared. What are you scared of? What are you scared of doing? Good win there for Joselito Velazquez over Jose Soto. It became a bit of a shootout. And Velazquez too strong, too powerful, and too fresh, I think, for Jose Soto.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's from that camp, that
what camp
winners
is that?
Camp, that Eddie Reynoso camp, because Eddie got a little heat with the whole Ryan Garcia thing. People were saying he's focused on only one fighter, but I hear other stories when people talk about that gym, how guys that come in there, and it's not a shot at everybody. Obviously, he proved that tonight that he's not playing as far as like giving energy to other fighters.
Well, his name on Instagram is Canelo Team. I think Velazquez just had a performance where now he's gonna, separate from all that.
It's still gonna be Canelo Team. He's not separated yet. Look, the flyweight division is full of sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, look, they don't want to rush him. No. But if you are part of that Canelo team, people want to see you in title fights very, very quick. Maybe quicker than you're ready for. They might push him.
Yeah, no, and he's an exciting fighter to watch. When guys fight like that, guess what? The fans want to see them fight, right? So sometimes they'll rush, but I think he can handle it.
Maybe he can handle it. I want to quickly talk about another fight on the undercard that we saw as well. Great win for Aaron Silva over Alexis Espino. Good win, good performance from Aaron Silva. He could go as well in the middle or super middleweight division.
Oh man, he showed a lot in this. I think he showed a lot of patience, and that's what I was saying earlier. Like, he knew when to let his hands go. He knew when to say, you know what, now I got to turn it up, and he showed that like throughout the whole fight.
I like it. It's been a good undercard so far. The undercard action has now finished. Main card coming very, very soon. Remember, scan the QR code if you haven't already, or go to DAZN.com for more information. Earlier, I know you guys called up with Eddie Hearn. Yeah. Let's hear what Mr. Matchroom had to say.
All right, we can't have a DBS show without Mr. Matchroom himself joining us. Eddie Hearn. Listen, Eddie, last week, you said you weren't nervous about Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Are you a little nervous today about Canelo Bivol?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think it's a really tough fight, Yeah. And it's like, as the show gets closer, people start realising how tough this fight is. Like, I think to the boxing world, they've known from day one, this is a real fight.
Yeah.
But I've actually seen quite a few people picking Bivol for the win. Like, what fight has Canelo been in over the last couple of years where anyone has actually picked the opponent to win the fight? And you're seeing that from credible media guys and credible boxing guys. Yeah. I think it's a really tough fight. But I did say earlier, like, if you were going to send any fighter in to a fight, who would you choose?
Canelo.
Exactly. So how nervous can you be?
And you think about being nervous. I mean, he's so the opposite of nervous, Canelo Álvarez. He's the guy that sees sometimes what we can't see. There's something in Bivol that when him and Eddie Reynoso got together and say, this is our next guy, we want a title at 175.
I don't even think it went down like that.
No, I'm just saying.
I just think they said...
Anyone.
He's the toughest guy. Yeah. He has the belt. Let's just fight him.
I know, but strategically, he can beat him. And think about this. What does Bivol do that Canelo has never seen in a ring?
No, true, but I just think it's a culmination of everything with Bivol. So the size straight away, it's like... The best way to describe it is that Canelo Álvarez is trying to handicap himself in fights to be competitive.
Yes. Right? Purposely.
So, like...
For greatness.
You're a middleweight, so you win what you need to at middleweight, then you move up to 168, you beat all the champions, so it's like, okay, how can it get tougher? Yeah. It's like a computer game. Where you go up the levels. Well, the next level is you have to fight the big guy.
Right.
The monster.
So he's in a hard level right now.
Yeah, you're the small guy, and then you're up against this big monster, and that's what's happening. Like, so it's size, it's footwork, it's movement, for me, the biggest thing in this fight is the freshness of Dmitry Bivol. You know, when he boxed Sergey Kovalev, we all know Kovalev never really lived a life. You know, he was still dangerous in that fight, but he wasn't fresh. He wasn't damaged good, but he'd been in tough fights. Bivol's like, he's never really, he got, let's say, wobbled. The end of the round against, by Joe Smith. That's it, really, in his whole career. So it really comes down to how good is Bivol. If Bivol had no amateur pedigree, if he wasn't a two-time world champion in the amateurs, like, you could lean on it and say, yeah, but is he actually that good? Like, this guy is really, really good.
So if you know that and we know that, how do you feel that basically all of the fans are acting like, oh, this is just a gimme for Canelo?
Fans are, but the boxing game isn't.
Yeah.
Like, there are people picking Dmitry Bivol to win this fight, and a lot of people are talking about this may be Canelo's toughest fight, maybe even since Mayweather.
I'm saying that.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see tonight. But I'll tell you one thing. It won't be anything but a tough fight. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing as well. If Dmitry Bivol wins this fight, it will be one of the greatest fights you have ever seen. Yes. Because the day that Canelo gets beat, outside, obviously, of Mayweather, it will be in a thriller. Because you know this guy's not just going to, like, let the fight drift over 12 rounds and lose a decision. It's going to be thrilling. And I still think either way this will be thrilling. Nice and tight early on, with Canelo trying to, break down the distance, cut him off. Bivol trying to use his upright European style to sort of, keep him at bay. The moment he starts closing the distance, the moment he starts slipping and letting the left hooks go to the body and to the head, that's when it's going to get really interesting. But the thing is as well, just Canelo sometimes doesn't throw a lot of combinations. He slips and 1, 2. I think against Dmitry Bivol, I think he needs to put more pressure than just a slip left hook to the body or a jab right hand. I think he has to use consistent pressure against him, maybe going 2 or 3 phases, because if Dmitry gets comfortable, he's going to be a real threat in this fight.
I agree with that, and he knows it as well. He told Barack that he has to start early. Another thing that he told us, like how comfortable he is in that ring and, moving up in weight class. Why is it that the credit that he is going to get, in my opinion, if he wins this fight, I don't think people are going to give him the credit for being that great, for being that risky. Meanwhile, 160-pounders, 168-pounders, they're not taking that risk. Nobody's going up to 175, none of those guys, or fighting each other. At what point does Canelo Álvarez gets the credit that he deserves?
When he retires.
Yeah.
Like, that's when it comes. I mean, the guy is 31 years old. He's had 61 fights. His last 10 fights have been against 8 world champions that he's taken the belt off. Like, the run is in... This guy boxed 4 times during the pandemic and unified the division against every single champion.
Undefeated
over 10
champion.
months. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. And yet it's still like, but he's ducking Charlo. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
You know what song I think about? I'm coming home. I'm coming home. We want to know how you felt when Canelo came back after doing a fight with Showtime and Caleb Plant. We asked him yesterday. I know you missed those ring entrances with Matchroom, and he kind of lit up like he's excited about what's going on.
It is harder indoors. Like when we did Dallas Cowboys and that, you can let the fireworks go. But we got something really, really nice.
I know
tonight.
You can't tell us what, but do you think this is just as good, this ring entrance, compared to the other ones?
It's difficult in a stadium, when you got Jay Balvin and you got the... But this is,
fireworks.
Yeah, this is special. Like, I think, in answer to your question, Ak, it's like, when he came back, it was like... It was a great feeling because, obviously, look, PBC are a great promotional outfit and he could have stayed with them, but he chose not to and he chose to come back, and he did that for a reason. Right. You always have to come up with the right deal with Canelo Álvarez. Just because he likes me doesn't mean he's just going to accept an offer.
I think it helped, though.
Listen, if it's ever close, we win. Because he trusts us, he believes in us. Right. He likes working with us, and he's a huge asset to our business.
Right.
And personally, he's an incredible motivator for me, even in my life. And people might say that sounds a bit cheesy, but any time you see someone who has got it all, right, everything, yet still has the passion and hunger, more passion and hunger than he did when he was selling lollipops on the street of Guadalajara. How do you do that when you're sitting in your huge $50 million mansion in San Diego by the pool, knowing that you've got to go and do 12 rounds with some hungry fighter who wants to take your head off, and you're excited to get in your Bugatti and drive down there?
100%. So listen, is the Triple G fight set in stone? Because we kind of mentioned it and everybody else is mentioning. What about Beterbiev?
Well, you might find out tonight if he wins.
Is Triple G coming to this fight?
Triple G's not coming to this fight. But
I see something.
We'll see. We'll see. Beterbiev won't be next. It's pretty clear that
just shot me down
the trilogy. But that's the fight. I think realistically, our plan with Canelo is fight tonight, We look at the Triple G rematch in September, and then fight in December in London or Mexico.
Right.
For me, the Better Biev undisputed fight, or Joe Smith, but likely Better Biev, comes Cinco de Mayo next year, realistically. Then we look at cruiserweights, then we look, there's so much for him to accomplish, but...
Which is offensive to Bivol, a little offensive, because
that's why, and I think with Triple G as well, he was going to come tonight, he was going to come down this week. I think he felt that against Dmitry Bivol. He knows those guys, it's like...
So is that why he decided not to?
Yeah, I think so.
That was respect for
more like, look, if I come, everyone's talking about the fight, he's got to beat Dmitry Bivol. I went to to Japan to fight Murata, and I got my business done. So you get your business done, and then we'll see.
That makes sense.
I'm hearing that you're going to give us an exclusive on AJ Usyk on the date and the venue.
I'm
hearing that through the grapevine on DBS Live. I mean, what can you tell us about Usyk?
We've got meetings in London next week. I think by the end of next week, I think we'll be in a position to be very close to announcing. The fight's on, the fight's happening. We are getting to the stage where we're comfortable with the venue. We'll wrap that up next week. We wanted to get through what has been an incredible 2 weeks with Taylor Serrano and Canelo Bivol tonight. And
Speaking of Taylor, I mean, there's no other fight I want to see. Fighter Katie I want to see, or Amanda fight.
Of course. No, I think the rematch, and we're just talking to Katie there about the rematch at Croke Park, in Ireland will be incredible. But I'm so pleased for Katie. Like, I was thinking yesterday, if you said now, tell me your top 5 pound-for-pound fighters, right? I think you put Taylor in that now, when you're not even talking about women's boxing, which is where we want to get to, So now we need to include women, in my opinion, in the pound-for-pound list for everybody, right? Not just a women's... We could do a women's pound-for-pound list, but I think Katie has reached the heights where when you talk about profile and achievements, you talk about
it's tough
Canelo Álvarez, you talk about Usyk.
It's tough because the women probably achieve more than the men.
Yeah.
So you might see 2 women above every other man.
Maybe, but also... I think you have to sort of almost, and I know it's professional boxing, but you almost have to look back over the resume of 5 world amateur championships, 6 European amateur championships, Olympic gold, like undisputed. And for me, she's a pound-for-pound legend, and I'm so pleased that she sits alongside those other fighters.
So has it even sunk in yet? Because you went from one big fight to another big fight. Has it even sunk in that you have the best female fighter in the world?
Well, we have the best female fighter in the world and the best male fighter in the world.
Eddie,
so it's a pretty good feeling.
I guess it's sunk in.
So how'd you like me now?
Outside of that, Eddie, I mean, let's be honest. I know you've been to many fights. You've been a part of many fights with your dad for many, many years. Wow. I don't want you to give me a generic answer. Like, what was it like to be in that Madison Square Garden watching this event?
I was so proud, the ring walk I was so proud. And then as the fight unfolded, Jake was sitting next to me and we were like up, down.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, in the 5th and 6th round, which
we know how scared you were.
I thought it was almost done. I won't say it too loud because I think Katie's still over there and she won't be very happy. But, the strength and courage that she showed to come back and, really win the fight in the back end of the fight, to come back and win those closing rounds was incredible. And, Boxing News in the UK summed it up well with the front cover this week, which was Fight of the Century. And they said, Ali and Frazier would have been proud of what they saw. And that's and some people will go, that's a bit over the top. It really isn't.
No, you had to be there to witness that. But listen, obviously Katie is great, and what she showed was amazing.
12th round, right there. What did you think when that knee almost
that was all right.
But in order for that fight that type of fight to happen, you have to have an opponent like Amanda Serrano. What do you say about Amanda Serrano?
Fantastic, brilliant. And now we have to be. When I say we have to be sensible about making the rematch, that doesn't mean you have to take whatever offer you're given. But at the same time, we know the margins of that fight that we made. That we know the money that was in the pot. There's more money in the pot this time. How much more? So and that will be reflected in the fighter's purses.
Do you remember when Serrano's trainer, Jordan, was like, everybody was like, oh, you're a jerk, you're stopping at such a great fight. Now do you say thank you?
Yeah, well, I think... he whether it was by madness or by brains, he got there, and maybe a bit of both. But it was about belief, and you have to respect that. Jake Paul brought a huge amount to the party. Amanda Serrano got that paycheck in part because of Jake Paul's involvement in that fight. Right. But they're a team, so good luck to him.
Is there going to be more Eddie Hearn, Jake Paul?
Yeah, maybe he's not. He put a few things out. He wasn't very happy about my comments.
Are you guys friends right now? Do
you know what? I think the problem is in boxing is there's too much. People weigh up too many personal feelings. I couldn't care less whether I'm Jake Paul's friend or not. We work well together.
Right.
that was a huge success because of the input that we both had in that fight. So in terms of a co-promotion, in terms of a partnership, we had a great time. Is he, do we get on? Is he my friend? I quite like him. Yeah, he's a bit crazy. I called him deluded, which, again, this isn't mean to be disrespectful. All I said was, I don't think he will ever become a world champion, and he certainly won't beat Canelo Álvarez. And Jake felt that was, that he said, all the greats have a dream. And I was like, whoa.
Was he really offended by that?
He was. Yeah, that's what he's offended by.
He messed up his promotion. He was starting early.
But
he needed a 2-year promotion.
Okay, do you think Jake Paul will beat a world champion and become a world champion?
He won't beat Canelo. I don't think that, but he might.
Right.
You never know.
With the amount of time,
I don't know how many years. Maybe not 2 years.
Oh my God!
But he's not going to beat Canelo.
What has happened to you?
He's 200 pounds in that division.
Eddie,
maybe a few years from now. Hold on. Maybe in a few years from now.
Stop.
Maybe he'll
Stop
get.
It.
Maybe
stop
it. Eddie, I know you've seen world champions, and you said to yourself, "Well, how did he get a belt?" I mean, you've seen that in the sport.
Guys,
no, I'm not saying he's going to beat Canelo. I'm not going to say he's going to beat Canelo.
At 24, whatever it is, you guys have been around the sport a long time. It's like you.
I wouldn't bet on that.
It's like you, right? Who has much more. Both you guys. Yeah. You've been boxing a lot longer than Jake Paul. Both turning around and go, do you know what? Now's the time for me. I'm going to go and become world champion. And me trying to take you seriously.
It's not going to happen. No question about it.
But he has an angle. He has an angle. He's accomplished so much.
By the way,
amongst the doubters. That's what he's saying.
And by the way, the confidence is going to help him actually probably get to levels that he shouldn't.
And you know who he's going to look at?
Who?
You, his biggest hater.
He's got a picture of me in the gym.
Well, look, I can't wait till you announce the Usyk AJ rematch, announce the Amanda Katie Taylor rematch, and all. We can't wait for those fights. But there are tons of more fights that come on the zone that we can't wait for either. Check them out.
Let's get ready to rumble! Now, entering the arena,
Canelo Álvarez, this is a champion in his prime.
His power carried up, the uppercuts, the body shots. Beautifully timed right uppercut from Craig Richards. First blood to Joshua Buatsi. Dick nicely to the body. Buatsi has excellent technique.
Not long left to go to the main card gets underway. We're, 45 minutes away from action starting here in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Make sure you scan the QR code. You don't want to miss what will be an absolutely fantastic night of boxing. Look who's joined me, fresh from doing an absolutely great job on comms, Chris Algieri. Chris, Eddie Hearn there, always very bullish and very confident when it comes to Canelo. I feel like I sense a bit of concern. I think he knows the job that Canelo's got in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all bullish on Canelo. I'm the same way. He's one of my favorite. He's actually my favorite fighter out there today. I think he always performs up a level every time he fights. He takes on the biggest challenges. This is a huge challenge, and one that I said earlier poses a lot of problems for the style of Canelo. I could see this as one of those fights where Canelo's deep in the hole and has to battle back to get the win.
You know, for all the fighters, look, Canelo's the kind of fighter that can jump through 160, 168. Personally, I still think he should be at 160. 168, 175. Is this the toughest challenge between those three weight classes for him?
I believe so. It's the biggest guy, but also Bivol's different. He's a mover. Caleb planted 68. Caleb looked huge that night against Canelo.
Yeah.
He moved really well. He had good success there at certain points of their fight. Bivol's similar to that, but just bigger in one weight class up. Weight classes are, especially as you go higher up in those bigger weight classes, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Another 7 pounds on top of the 8 that he already jumped up from middleweight. It's a big ask.
Does Bivol need to earn Canelo's respect early? We've seen Canelo almost, just walk people down.
Yeah.
Remember when he walked Callum Smith down, walked Billy Joe Saunders down to get the stoppage there? Does Bivol almost need to dent him so Canelo doesn't walk him down and almost make Canelo fight on the back foot a little bit?
I can't see that happening.
Really?
No. As big as Bivol is, I think stylistically for him, the best option is to minimize engagements, to stay on the outside, use that push and pull style that he has, utilize his good jab and his counters. If he's standing in front of Canelo, Canelo is an offensive machine. He likes fighting bigger guys. He likes a bigger target. So I think the more he moves, the less engagement, the better off for Bivol.
You've seen so many big fights here at the T-Mobile. What can we expect? What kind of atmosphere will we see in the next sort of hour or so?
Well, I've actually been ringside for Canelo fights in this room, and it gets, I mean, loud. Get your earplugs ready. It's one of those kind of feelings.
All right, Joselito Velazquez looks fantastic, obviously under the Eddie Reynoso camp. He's ringside. Let's hear from the champ.
Yeah, Joselito Velazquez coming up with a 6-round knockout victory. A big win for you there, but you and Jose Soto, you were trading heavy hands in that 5th round. What did you take with you from that 5th and apply it into the 6th that led to a powerful left hook?
En el 5 estaban tirando golpes. ¿Qué miraste que podías, con eso lo podías noquear?
Vi que él estaba abriéndose mucho cuando él tiraba golpes y sabía que yo con mi velocidad y con mi explosividad podía contragolpearlo. El profesor Eddie Reynoso me dijo eso, que bloqueara sus golpes por fuera y yo lo contragolpeara. Y fue en el 6º round donde hice caso y pude noquearlo contundentemente.
In the 5th round, he was noticing that the punches were coming kind of wide, and his shots were a little bit closer. With the instructions by Eddie Reynoso, his trainer, he was able to follow through, catch the shot, and the left hook caught clean, as you saw in the 6th round.
You mentioned Eddie Reynoso. We know that you've been training in Canelo Álvarez's gym alongside Oscar Valdez. What specifically did you take with you from those lessons you learned watching Canelo, training with Oscar Valdez, and bring it here tonight?
Estás entrenando con el Eddie Reynoso, el Canelo, el Oscar. ¿Qué has sacado y qué has ponido en tu boxeo que has aprendido?
Yo creo que muchas cosas, y en particular hemos practicado mucho la defensa, las repeticiones de contragolpe, cosas que podemos ver en el boxeo de Saúl Álvarez, ¿no? Como la técnica en su defensa y en el poder de los golpes que se pueden ver en las peleas. Eso trabajamos día a día con la disciplina que caracteriza al profe Eddie Reynoso y pues creo que lo estamos poniendo en práctica.
What he saw through the teachings of Eddie Reynoso are simple boxing techniques where he can implement into the fight. And that's what you saw today with the instruction by Eddie Reynoso. He was able to implement it, catch, do small things well.
Your manager, Frank Espinosa, said that we were going to learn a lot about this fight with you and Jose Soto. What do you think you showed us with your performance and the rest of the flyweight division tonight?
Dijo el Frank que ibas a mirar a usted algo bueno. ¿Qué piensas que enseñaste ahora anoche con esta ganada?
Pues creo que estamos listos para grandes cosas. El profesor Eddie Reynoso tiene grandes planes junto con mi manager Frank Espinosa. Creo que estamos haciendo un buen equipo en el gimnasio con mi entrenador, con el Frank Espinosa. Y creo que estamos listos para grandes cosas, de pelear seguido para poder colocarnos en una oportunidad de título mundial en las 112 libras.
Joselito, thanks for the time. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Let's go back upstairs to Adi and Chris.
Great to hear from Joselito Velazquez. A good win over Jose Soto. The flyweight division is a good one, so it's going to be interesting to see what he does in the next 12 or 18 months. Let's bring it back and talk about his stablemate Canelo. You know, when people have these all-time great discussions, and it's almost like the top 10 of the top 10, no one can enter. There is no key to unlock that top 10. What does Canelo need to do for us to realistically have a conversation about him cracking that top 10 or top 15?
Honestly, I think he's already there.
Really? Top 10?
I think it just takes time.
Okay.
You know, I think a lot of the greatness of fighters you realize after the fact. Lennox Lewis, for example. I remember during his time, he had a lot of people were downtrodden on him. After his career, we look back on it, it was absolutely stellar. And I think Canelo's going to be one of those guys as well. And he's not done. He's still.
That's what's scary.
It's his early 30s. He still has years to go. And there's no sign of him slowing down or stopping. He wants the biggest, toughest challenges out there. So, yeah, I do believe that he is in that running, and we can talk about for all-time great status.
He almost has a cult status, doesn't he, Canelo? Because he does pick some of the best fighters out there, and he does win, and he almost breaks them down. He has spoken about going to cruiserweight. There was talk about Ilunga Makabu. Will he go to cruiserweight? Will we maybe get Canelo versus Lawrence Okoli in England?
I see it.
Yeah.
I think if he sets his mind to something and he's been adamant about it, everything he said he was going to do, he has done. So if he says he wants to go to cruiserweight, maybe get a title there, I can see it happening.
I like it. We're matchmakers now and promoters. We want our promoters fee for doing this. Earlier in the week, Akan Barak called up with Canelo. He took time out of his busy schedule to speak about the fight.
All right, we're joined here by the pound-for-pound king, who is getting ready to go for another world title at light heavyweight. Saúl Canelo Álvarez.
What's up, champ?
Thank you for giving us the time. Okay. You know what I noticed at the press conference, the face-off, right? Everybody keeps saying, he's so big, but you're comfortable fighting big guys, and he's not even the biggest you fought.
I'm comfortable fighting anybody.
But why is
any size?
Any size. But why is it that size doesn't bother you? What do you think that you bring to the table that doesn't matter?
My experience and my skills. And when you're in this level, you need to adapt yourself
to any style.
To any style, right? I fought with every style, every size. So at this point, I can adapt myself in anybody.
So when was the moment in your career that you said, I could fight anybody? Because at first, you was like 155, I'm not ready for middleweight. When did you say, I'm ready for anybody? What time period?
I really don't know when, but in some point you feel in your prime, like, I feel
Is it from like sparring
comfortable.
with Frank Sanchez?
Yeah. No. In the fight, you getting more experience. When I was 29, around that, I feel like more strong, more confident, like in my prime.
You know, 2018, when you first joined the zone and you had an 11-fight deal, right? We asked you, after 11 fights, are you done with boxing? You said, no, I want to fight till maybe I'm 37 years old, I remember. Since then, you had a baby boy, you found golf as a passion. Do you still feel the same way? You want to fight another 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years more.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you never know, right? Maybe I'm take it easy. Would you 6 more years and then fight one time a year.
Would you pursue golf professionally after?
No, it's hard to say. You need to start since young.
You got to start at a young age.
Golf is so hard.
So difficult.
It's so difficult.
Well, people are saying you're so good.
You wanna be a pro? It's difficult. I spend a lot of hours practicing, right? You never know, but it's. I need to be.
Well, you like challenges, so.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. But I'm there. You never know, right?
You know, you say you fight anybody, right? A lot of people talking about you fighting Usyk. You know, I think that's kind of crazy. But let's just say you fought Usyk, right? Do you think you could fight him like you fought Callum Smith and back him up? Or you be fighting like Triple G the first fight?
Oh, I don't know. I can do anything. That's for sure. I can do anything, but it's crazy to say. But like a fighter, I love the idea, right?
You know, a lot of people were saying yesterday.
But he says it's crazy.
But
guys, it's crazy.
Yeah,
but he'll do it for you.
Yeah. But no disrespect, Usyk. I say Usyk because he's a really good fighter. I watch him a lot of times. He's a really good fighter, but it's crazy. But I like the idea. Why not? Yeah. Maybe one day.
You know, people are saying now. Before it was, is he the greatest Mexican fighter of all time? I think that ship sailed already. You're definitely that. Now people are talking, he might be eventually one of the greatest of all times, right? You're a big Muhammad Ali fan. I've heard during the past talk about that. And being mentioned as one of the GOATs is big. If you can say one thing to Muhammad Ali today, like if you could just say something to him, what would you say?
No, he inspired me in many ways. Personal and sport of boxing too. He did a really good job with boxing. Right. He helped a lot to us as a fighter because he put a rule in boxing. Yeah. So he inspired me a lot.
Let's say if you beat Bivol and you decide to retire right after, what would be your greatest win?
I don't know. I have a lot
you knew I was going to ask that. He said, I don't know.
Yeah. Cotto, Golovkin,
you don't know,
Kovalev.
You don't have a favorite right now? You don't have a favorite right now?
No.
Well, out of the fighters, though, that you faced already, who do you respect the most? Who do you have cariño for? Like, that you really respect?
Cariño. He don't speak Spanish.
No, he's not.
Cariño.
That's not Puerto Rican. Like somebody that you kind of really like, genuinely like, but you had to share the ring with him.
He likes none of them. He likes Cotto.
Cotto, yeah.
Oh, Cotto.
Because he was my idol before.
Oh, okay.
So I watched a lot of fights before I fight with him to learn. So maybe him.
Bivol is a better fighter than Beterbiev?
Yeah, better fighter, yes.
Much better?
Much better. Beterbiev is a really strong fighter.
Right.
Go forward.
But he's right there.
Yeah, right there. He's strong. But Bivol is really good fighter. He have a really good jab, good moves, strong.
You got the reputation where it takes you a few rounds to just figure the opponent out and make the adjustments. What round does it usually click? Is it the third, fourth round?
Depends. Depends the opponent. You know, you maybe it's early, later.
Right.
But I think with Bivol, I need to start early.
Early.
Because
Yeah.
he have the stamina to go to 12 rounds, same condition, right? And I think I need to start early.
You got 11 fights that you ended from the 9th and on. Do you think that it might take that long with somebody like Bivol because he moves so much? Yeah.
Yes, and he's
You don't ever get worried during that? Like, damn, we 11th round.
No,
Plant.
that's why it's 12 rounds, right? To show them who's the best fighter.
People, we already know that the Triple G fight is in place, right? People know that if you get past him, Triple G, but a lot of people want you to unify at 175.
Yeah.
Is Beterbiev on your list?
Oh, Beterbiev or Joe Smith. I like the idea.
Oh,
I have
right,
this,
the winner of them.
Yeah,
right.
I like the idea, but freeze is freeze, right? I need to beat Bivol freeze and then see how I feel in this weight class. But I like the idea a lot.
I know you were saying earlier, you was like, oh, he went over there to PBC, and now he came back to Eddie, you know, and your ring entrance. Let me ask you this. What was your favorite ring entrance?
I think in Dallas with Billy Joe Saunders.
That was better than the
Balvin,
I didn't want to say the name. Better than that one? Better than the Balvin in Miami?
No, Balvin is great artist, but Mexican, the Mexican
prideful.
people singing, so excited. It's different.
So now that you're back with Eddie and he puts a lot of energy into the ring entrance, can you give us a sneak preview of who's coming? No sneak?
Come on,
a little bit?
But it's going to be really good.
It's going to be good.
Mexican.
Listen, golf, if you
Just
can pick
for Cinco de Mayo weekend.
Oh, so it's going to be really Mexican based.
Yeah.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, by the way.
Thank you.
Listen, foursome, golf. You and three other guys.
Sound right, though. Oh, whoa!
Stop. Who would you pick? Who was the other three golfers that you would golf with?
Tiger, John Ram, Brooks. Kepka.
I heard of Tiger. I don't know anybody else.
All right, so what should we expect on Saturday night? Just typical Canelo, break you down, body, eventually.
You never know with me. You never know with me.
What's going to be the shot to hurt him? You know, you did the 1-2 with
every shot. Every shot.
Does it go to distance?
Huh?
Does this fight go to distance?
I hope so. No.
I hope so. No.
Not bad. You never know. I have a really good fighter in front of me, but I'm gonna try for sure.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the after dinner party. Always good luck.
Thank you,
Canelo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always great, but still quite strange for me to hear Canelo speak English so well. He really does speak it so well. Less than 30 minutes to go to the main card starts. Make sure you scan the QR code. You really don't want to miss what should be an absolutely epic night of fights. Look who's joined us. One of the most knowledgeable guys in boxing, the great Dan Rafael. Dan, just off air there, we were speaking about Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. Let's quickly touch him for 30 seconds. I mean, you've seen some fights before. How good was that, Dan?
Well, that was a great fight. I mean, I was here in Las Vegas at the Oscar Valdez-Shakur Stevenson fight, and there was a break in the card, and we were watching it on my laptop. And me and 4 or 5 of the other journalists that were there, we weren't covering that fight, so we were cheering. It was so good. And I've been telling people who've been asking about that since that fight happened, I've said, you know, it's a great women's fight, but we don't need to call it a great women's fight anymore. It was just a great fight. I made the point that in all of my years, almost 20 years in the Boxing Writers Association of America, we do a fight of the year. And in my time on that, in that organization, I don't believe we've ever had a women's boxing match on the final ballot for the year-end award. I have no doubt in my mind that even though we're still here in May, that fight was in April, that come December, that fight's going to find its way on the ballot for sure.
Yeah, look, if it doesn't, I mean, I guess that means we're in for a great year of boxing because it has to find its way, I think. And let's talk about the main event, Canelo versus Dmitry Bivol. You've covered Canelo for so many years. When you compare the fight that he's had with other greats, Golovkin, Danny Jacobs, etc., where do you rank this one, Dmitry Bivol? We won't know yet, but in terms of expectation, what's your expectation for this fight?
I've been saying very steadfastly since this fight was made that if you take a look at Canelo's career post Triple G, in other words, post the middleweight division, which means his run at super middleweight to become undisputed last year, and as well as the Callum Smith fight, and then also the one step up to light heavyweight against Sergey Kovalev. All of those opponents, I believe very strongly that Dmitry Bivol, without question, is the best opponent he's had in that group of fighters. Again, post middleweight. I'm not going to say he's better than Golovkin or better than Mayweather or people like that, but I'm talking about post 160. Dmitry Bivol is the most dangerous, most complete, freshest opponent that he has fought. Eddie Hearn made a very good point that I hadn't really thought about, to be honest, talking about what the Bivol brings to the table. And you always think about, well, he's got a good jab, and he's taller, and he's a little bigger, and all those different things. He's a little bit younger. Eddie made the point, and it is not lost on me. Dmitry Bivol has not taken any damage as a professional fighter. He's still fresh as a daisy, as they say. So he is all those other attributes that I mentioned, taller, longer, but has not taken damage. He's not Kovalev, who was a great fighter in his best day, but when Canelo got a fight with him, he was just a little bit past where he was at his best, and we saw what happened. Bivol is a lot better in my mind where he is in his career than where Sergey Kovalev was.
Dan, look, you're a boxing historian. I just asked Chris, I'm going to ask you the question. Where is Canelo when people talk about these all-time great sort of comparisons with some of the best we've ever seen? I mean, what does he need to do if he's not in your top 10 or top 15?
Well, are you talking about all time? Or
I'm
like
talking
Mexico?
all time.
You know, I try not to get too far ahead of myself. And I think back, and maybe it's because I have the experience of having covered these fights. If you had asked me this exact same question about Roy Jones on the night here in Las Vegas all those years ago when he beat John Ruiz for a heavyweight title.
Number one.
I don't know if I would say he's number one. You're going to make the argument like that Roy had done something truly special, historical that we may never see again. And his ranking would be up. But he fought so long after that, and we saw what happened, that it did knock him down a peg. So Canelo, obviously, he's in his prime. He's still got a lot of good years left, I suppose. But in the history of boxing, it's so hard to say at this moment in time that he can be in the top 10 of all time. You know, I'm not sure he's even yet to the point where we could say he's a top 10 middleweight of all time, or a top 10 light heavyweight, because he's only had the one fight with tonight coming up. Yeah. Super middleweight, you can maybe argue because it's not a division with it's not a rich history. So I reserve until the guy's retired, certainly within the context of the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. He's already in the conversation, if you ask me. I mean, Chavez is still number one, but with what Canelo still has in front of him, what he can still do down the road, he's got a chance to get there.
I'll ask you that Canelo question in about 5 years when he said he might retire. Can Dmitry Bivol win? If he can, how?
Dmitry Bivol can definitely win. I mean, I learned a long time ago upsets happen.
On points?
I think he can win on points. I think it's possible if he works the body or lands the right shot that he could score a knockout, although Canelo has shown himself to be extremely durable. But again, those were against smaller fighters. But for Dmitry to actually win, to come out on top, it's not a secret. He's got to have a jab that works. He's got a very good jab already. He's got to use it more than just to find his range. He's got to use it as a power shot. And he's got good feet and good quickness, and he's got to keep Canelo on the outside because he's taller and longer. If he can put that together, and the other thing to me, I'm not a trainer, but I've watched a lot of boxing. Yeah. Stay off the ropes or you're dead meat. Because if you go on the ropes and Canelo can crowd you, he'll just annihilate you. Yeah. So to me, Bivol's, the way he wins, stay in the middle of the ring, use your long jab, control the distance, and find some places to land some better power shots off your jab. And that's the blueprint. Execution's a lot different, though, than actually coming up with the idea.
Dan, thank you very much. One of the best voices in boxing. All right, let's throw to our presentation team now. Kate Abdos with Jessica McCaskill and Sean Porter to carry you through the night.
Thank you very much, Adi. We're excited to be here in full rehearsal mode. We're ready to go. Just a few hours now until we do get started. I looked at my watch. I'm not actually wearing one. But you two, I see, are wearing matching watches today. Close enough. Hey, it's TV. Nobody knows. I'm excited to be here. Cinco de Mayo weekend, Canelo fight. It always feels big, but him going up to light heavyweight and challenging an unbeaten champion, it feels really big, Sean.
Yeah, you know what? It's cool because once upon a time, these weekends were for Floyd Mayweather, and now to see that, and not necessarily the torch was handed per se, but it just seems like Canelo has taken over Cinco de Mayo weekends, and for us to be here doing this now, I think we're in for a treat. Because we may be in for a surprise.
I think one of the most exciting things about this fight is that you look at it and you think that Canelo genuinely could actually lose this fight, Jessica.
There's definitely a challenge here. I don't want people to sleep on Bivol at all. He is here for the challenge. He is a natural natural 178-pounder. He's coming to defend his title. He's not the challenger. Canelo's the challenger here. And when you come up against a fighter like Canelo, you prepare like you've never prepared before. This is going to be the best Bivol we've ever seen.
Sean, I know you well. You love a prediction. Do you want to give the DAZN Boxing Show a prediction for tonight?
I hate a prediction. You know this about me. But no, to McCaskill's point, Bivol is live in this fight. This is a 55-45 fight, and you can pick out of a hat who you think is going to win this fight. Let's be honest here. Bivol has boxing ability. He has some speed. Not I want to say crazy speed. He's got skills. He's got power. Very intuitive in the ring. And he knows what he's doing. He knows his way around the ring. That's something that Canelo hasn't seen in a very long time. Canelo essentially has had to fight against one style or one specific thing from a fighter. Once he conquers that, he conquers the fighter. Bivol is bringing multiple things into the ring tonight, and it's going to be a big challenge for Canelo.
Do you want to give the good people at home a prediction?
That was not a prediction.
I'll say, Cinco de Mayo, I got to stick with my people. I think Canelo's going to pull it off, but I think he is going to have trouble in the first couple of rounds. Canelo has a tendency to give up the first couple of rounds. I don't know if he's feeling the fighter out or mentally landscaping things, but if Bivol can capitalize off of those couple of rounds before he gets broken down by Canelo, then he could have a fighter's chance.
Now, if you're a boxing fan and you're looking at Sean, you know something's not right. Where is the Sean Porter tie?
Oh, it's coming.
How big is it going to be? How many inches are we going across?
It's going to be just right, all right?
All right, with that, Adi, we're going to hand it back to you.
Yeah, look, I'm looking for that Sean Porter tie as well. We need to see it. We're going to throw back to the guys in about 10 minutes. I earlier, though, caught up with Dmitry Bivol. We haven't heard a lot from Dmitry Bivol. I caught up with him earlier this week to talk about the big task in front of him.
Huge fight this weekend. The current WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol takes on the pound-for-pound king Canelo Álvarez. T-Mobile Arena, live on DAZN pay-per-view, and we're joined by Dmitry Bivol. You know, I remember Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders in the lead-up to their fight with Canelo. They seem to get rattled a little bit. They seem to be maybe a bit nervous. You seem to be so relaxed. Why?
I don't know why. Maybe just it's me, and I have to be quiet and now before fight. Only on the ring I have to be angry and be ready. Now, easy.
I was on your Twitter page. You don't tweet at all, but I was on your Twitter page and I found a tweet that you did back in January 2019. And you said, if Canelo wants to come to my weight class, I'm ready, I want the fight. It's more than just a big payday. You genuinely believe that you can beat Canelo. Why?
Yeah, of course, for me it's only... For me it's... I have to keep my belt. And first of all, it's a big challenge to check my boxing skills. Because I'm in boxing since I remember myself, and all my coaches said me before, you can be the best fighter in the world. And I won many amateur fights. I have a belt in pro boxing in light heavyweight division. Why I couldn't be the better? Yeah, it pushed me up to check myself and be the best.
Do you think he's physically big enough for 175 pounds Canelo? We've seen him in against Kovalev, and some will say obviously because of Kovalev, but when you look at the head-to-head, you're still quite a lot bigger, you're taller. Do you think he's big enough for the division?
Who bigger?
Canelo.
Canelo? I don't know, maybe bigger, but if bigger, it's for a couple kilos maybe. It's not about, it's fight, it's not.
We'll get back to that Dmitry Bivol interview, I promise you. Ak's joined us. Ak, let's talk about that interview. Bivol, obviously very confident, very assured of himself as well, and he should be.
Of course, he's undefeated, you know what I mean? And obviously he's been acting for this position, to be in this opportunity for a very long time. We told him when we ran into him early in the week, he reminded us about maybe 3 years ago or so, we ran into him at the MGM. I was actually buying some pancakes. He ran up on me. I want that Canelo fight. I want that Canelo fight. At the time, I said, you're a big guy. He said, I'll go down to whatever weight I have to. So he's been wanting this fight for a long time. He sees something.
Yeah, he certainly does see something in Canelo. I spoke to him as well earlier, and he said, you know, this is the fight I've wanted. You know, I'm not in it just for a payday. Obviously, you make a lot of money, and he should make his money. He wants to keep his belts, and he's talking about creating his own legacy as well. If he does beat Canelo, a lot of talk about pound for pound and all that. Where does it go in the pound for pound rankings if he does the almost unthinkable this evening?
That's the question. A lot of people say, if you dethrone the pound for pound king, you should have that spot. I don't agree with it. I think to get to that spot, you have to accumulate a certain amount of wins to be called pound for pound. So he'll be on the list, not number one.
Indeed. I think we can get that Bivol interview back. A little gremlin, it happens on a busy fight night. Let's hear from Dmitry Bivol once again.
Huge fight this weekend. The current WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol takes on the pound for pound king Canelo Álvarez. T-Mobile Arena, live on Dazn pay-per-view. And we're joined by Dmitry Bivol. You know, I remember Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders in the lead up to their fight with Canelo. They seemed to get rattled a little bit. They seemed to be maybe a bit nervous. You seem to be so relaxed. Why?
I don't know why. Maybe just it's me, and I have to be quiet and now before fight. Only on the ring I have to be angry and be ready. Now, easy.
I was on your Twitter page. You don't tweet at all, but I was on your Twitter page and I found a tweet that you did back in January 2019. And you said, if Canelo wants to come to my weight class, I'm ready, I want the fight. It's more than just a big payday. You genuinely believe that you can beat Canelo. Why?
Yeah, of course, for me it's only... For me it's... I have to keep my belt. And first of all, it's a big challenge to check my boxing skills. Because I'm in boxing since I remember myself, and all my coaches said me before, you can be the best fighter in the world. And I won many amateur fights. I have a belt in pro boxing in light heavyweight division. Why I couldn't be the better? Yeah, it pushed me up to check myself and be the best.
Do you think he's physically big enough for 175 pounds Canelo? We've seen him in against Kovalev, and some will say obviously because of Kovalev, but when you look at the head-to-head, you're still quite a lot bigger, you're taller. Do you think he's big enough for the division?
Who bigger?
Canelo.
Canelo? I don't know, maybe bigger, but if bigger, it's for a couple kilos maybe. It's not about, it's not about who bigger. It's fight about who's good boxer, who can use his skills, whose skills better.
I was at your fight with Craig Richards in the UK. I also saw your fight against Joe Smith and Barrera. The reason I bring those two fights up is because against Joe Smith and Barrera, people considered those 50-50 fights, and you won them both very easily. So it's almost as though you rise up to the occasion. Is that true? Because against Craig Richards, maybe the second half of the fight wasn't your best.
You know, against Pascal and Joe Smith, it was good fights for me. It was good challenge for me because they're great fights. A fight against Craig Richards, it wasn't a good fight for me.
Crowd?
Not crowd. It's not big deal for me that time. But I had a big rest, and I don't have too much sparrings before Craig Richards, and Craig Richards is a good awkward boxer, and I wasn't maybe to be motivated too much.
Is it strange to be an underdog? You've never been an underdog before. Normally when I look at your fights and I look at the betting, you're always a favorite. Even the close ones, Pascal, Joe Smith, Barrera, but you're always a favorite. This time you're an underdog.
It's motivated me too.
Yeah?
It's something interesting. It's something new in my career. Always I was a favorite, but now it's good challenge for me. I like it.
Do you think they're overlooking you and maybe being a bit disrespectful? There is talk of if Canelo wins this, he fights GGG. Everyone's talking about GGG versus Canelo in September.
What about Dmitry Bivol?
What next after GGG?
Yeah, maybe they say he goes to Usyk.
Cruiserweight.
He goes to Usyk. He maybe fights Joshua.
But you know, to be honest, it doesn't matter for me because I have my date, I have my fight, I have my schedule. Yeah, you know, it's more important for me. I have a fight. It doesn't matter what plan he has after fight, what plans I have after fight. No, main thing we gonna fight.
You've obviously watched tapes. You and your coaches would have watched a lot of tapes on Canelo. What do you think he does very good?
Canelo has a lot of good skills. He uses his upper body good for defense. He has a good power. He has a good speed. And he is good on counter punch by his right hand, uppercut, and good body shots. He's a good boxer with good skills.
You've already beaten a lot of the champions at light heavyweight. We mentioned Joe Smith as a champion now. Is Canelo the toughest fight for you at 175, or is it Beterbiev?
I don't know. I never fight with Canelo to say like that, you know.
I should come back and ask you on Sunday.
Yeah, ask me on Sunday. Yeah.
Are you excited for all of this, Dmitry? I mean, this is what fighters dream of, right? The big fights against Canelo in Las Vegas, big arena. It's going to be packed. That must excite you.
Yeah, it excites me after fight, but now I try to forget about all lights, all attention, all fans. I just think about only fight, and I should be ready and be focused on the fight, not on the lights, on the media stuff.
You know, you have your fans. I'm one of your fans. I'm a big fan of you.
Thank you.
99.
Did you say that the same on Canelo?
Well, no, my guys Akam Barak interviewed Canelo, but I'm a big fan, I promise you. 99.9% of the fans in the arena will be for Canelo.
Yeah.
And they will.
But you will
I will be with you.
It's
Can I get a Dmitry Bivol shirt? Can I get one of these? Can I take that one? Give me that Bivol shirt. We're working with Bivol. We're with Bivol. Thank you very much. The Mexicans might not let me out of Vegas now, but how is it going to be when a lot of the fans will boo you? They'll boo you. As you walk out, they're going to boo you. Have you prepared for that mentally?
I will be ready for this, I think, because I have a lot of amateur fights.
Yeah.
When we came to another country, another cities, and fight with local fighters. And the whole crowd was against me, and no problem. I have experience for this stuff. And I fought against Joe Smith in Verona. This is his home place.
Yeah.
And I... No problem with this. Only focus on the fight.
Have you allowed yourself to think about what if I beat Canelo? Like how life changes?
No thinking about what if win, what if lose, what if something else. Only thoughts. I have to be ready and I will fight.
Do you think you have to knock him out to win? You know what people say about Canelo and decisions, it's going to be difficult. Do you think you have to stop him to win the fight?
No, I believe I just have to be my best version. And if I see I can stop him early, of course I'll do it, like every fighter if he see it. But every fighter should be ready for all distance. And doesn't matter about decisions, it's more important how I feel after fight.
How are you feeling now before the fight?
If I feel after fight I win, and my coach said me you win, and the crowd will be glad for my experience, for my performance, it's more important for me.
Now that I am Team Bivol, if you do win, where's the after party? Can I come to the after party?
I don't have a party yet.
You don't have a party? This is Vegas? There's no party planned? We'll sort one out. Dmitry, good luck.
Thank you.
Dmitry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I clearly am Team Bivol here now. I don't mind being Team Bivol because I know I've got two Team Canelos next to me. Look, we're 10 minutes away from the main card. Make sure you scan the QR code. You don't want to miss the main event. If you are struggling, go to DAZN prelims.com. I'm sure you figure out how to do it that way. Bivol's got a chance. You said a 45% chance earlier. You said 20% chance. Have you changed in your 20?
Well, I said 25.
Oh, it's now 25. It's now 25.
As far as your little jacket, where's your Bivol jacket? I heard you had to give it back.
I've got a Bivol t-shirt. I've got a Bivol t-shirt underneath the suit. I have. Look, is he aggressive enough? We've seen Bivol put some good performances on. Maybe not as aggressive as we would like to see from him. Does he have to be a lot more aggressive to get the win tonight?
No.
No?
No. When has aggressive ever worked against Canelo Álvarez?
Yeah.
If no one
when has anything ever worked against Canelo Álvarez?
Well, 2014. No, but seriously, if you can't hurt him, and which I'm just guessing that he can't, I think the best thing is a fight on your back foot.
As this arena gets packed, what I'm thinking about is when the lights hit, when the crowd is packed, is he going to be able to deal with the moment? I think the biggest fight Bivol's been in was against Joe Smith. Barack, you and I were there and turning casino. It was a very small venue, nothing like this.
And that was a championship fight, but then again, Craig Richards, even though it's not a big name, you talk about over there in the UK, all those fights are big.
Yeah.
Thousands of people there. So I think no matter what, though, it's about who you're fighting. That's what makes you nervous.
It's a very good point you make about the lights. Yeah. Canelo's done this time and time again. All the media work out. He's chilling in his nice little D&G suit. This is easy work for him. This is new for Bivol. Bivol's not done this. Look, he's had big fights before. Right. Sullivan Barrera, a big fight. Joe Smith, a big fight. Nothing like a Canelo fight.
Do Russian fighters get nervous?
No.
Okay, there we go.
No.
Well, nerves doesn't have to do with anything with dealing with what's going on. Like the crowd, just the distractions. He can very well be distracted from the moment because you have to deal with all of that psychologically, and then physically you got to get in the ring and perform against the best fighter in the world.
Look at his demeanor. Do you think he's going to get distracted, though?
Yeah, I don't think so. Look, we've got a great fight card for you. This is what we've got coming up tonight, so make sure you scan that QR code if you want to see it. You really have to. This is what we've got coming. Here's the full fight card. Here is the main card for you. Heavyweight action will kick us off. Zheli Zhang versus Scott Alexander. Mark Castro, good opportunity for Mark Castro on a Canelo main card. He takes on Pedro Vicente. I'm really looking forward to this one. Shakram Gyasov versus Christian Gomez. Montana Love, the very highly touted Montana Love, takes on the tough Mexican Gabriel Golaz. And then it is the main event, the main card, the big man, Canelo Álvarez, going for greatness again. He takes on Dmitry Bivol for that WBA light heavyweight title. All right, guys, come on. You look at the fight card. What else excites you? Talk to me.
Montana Love.
Yeah.
He brings excitement to the sport.
Is he going to walk the dog to the ring again? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. That's his stick. That's his thing. He's definitely going to do that. Yeah. But I like the fact that he's been hurting guys in the ring. Barack and I talked to him earlier in the week. He said, I'm sitting down on my punches. I want to hurt guys. I want to entertain the fans. So obviously he's entertaining outside of the ring. He has the shine, the jewels, the dog, but he's doing it in the ring. And boxing needs fighters like him.
He is going to be booed like he's never been booed before fighting a Mexican in front of 99% Mexicans.
I think the dog might win a couple of fans.
No, not only that. I mean, he might come out with some Mexican colors.
You know he's going to do that, right? Like Floyd did against Oscar. He'll probably come out and do that. Yeah. It's difficult not to look past the main event, though, is it? Yeah. I mean, Canelo, come on, no more fence sitting. Let's get predictions. Yeah. What we think? What we got?
You know I don't give predictions. I'm not giving that. I'm going to give the edge.
You got 20 seconds to give me one.
But I gave you a 55-45 edge to Canelo. That's as far as I'm going to go.
Okay, that's as far as you go.
What's the prediction?
I'm going to give you a prediction. I'm going to go with the safe bet, right?
He's always wrong.
What I've seen, Canelo can deal with everything. Canelo wins, unanimous decision.
All right, look, great card coming up. Make sure you watch all the action. Download the QR code from myself, Akenbarak. Enjoy all the fights.
Canelo, it's just too much of a risk. Dmitry Bivol's a beast.
Bivol has a great chance. It's a fight that would mean something for Canelo.
Bivol is probably the most dangerous opponent out there for Canelo.
think Canelo has the size and power.
He's technically proficient. He's powerful. He's a better fighter than the Turtle. That's why Bivol's a beast.